And vice versa with the women. A man gonna do what you allow him to do. And if you don't know your worth, you'll put up with that bullshit. But when you know your worth and you know you don't have to put up with it, you ain't gonna put up with it.
The girl was like, well, if I decide I want to wear a string bikini, to the beach and all that, I don't deserve to be harassed. And if you got a problem with that as my man, that's a problem. And he was like, look, I'm not, like, you shouldn't be harassed. You're right. You shouldn't be harassed. However, they got creeps out there. Period. There are creeps out there. And so you have to be mindful. He's like, I'm not worried about my woman per se. She fine and she putting it out. Okay, cool. However, they gonna have somebody that's gonna disrespect that boundary. They gonna have somebody that's gonna do something to handle because they don't have the respect.
Right.
That's who I'm looking out for. That's who I'm afraid of you attracting, right? And stuff. And so that's real talk. Like, you're going to attract the creeps with that. A woman is tight because she's nervous. It's a muscle. So if I'm nervous and I'm not comfortable, then it's gonna be tight. That don't mean necessarily that it was just
preach my thunder, because when you're loosing like that, you want to know what we doing? We getting ready to orgasm. It's called bottoming out. We're letting that bottom drop so you can hit what we need you to hit, so we can get what we want. If you notice, every time before the orgasm, it goes loose. Pay attention. Before her orgasm, not your orgasm is tight because she's working for you. Her orgasm is loose every time. She don't squeeze during the orgasm. She squeezes after the orgasm because she's trying to stop. It's a reflex after. And I'm sorry, y'all not moving, shaking. I got my phone in my hand. That's how I keep my glasses. That's how it works.
There are some decent women out there that may have kids that are able to hold it down for themselves and still be able to accept a man into their lives in a man role. So
see, the thing is, when you just say you be the woman that's holding it down by herself, this is the problem right here. In today, in the 21st century, a lot of women, they don't want to have no damn discipline. They don't want no man to come in and tell them what to do. They don't want to follow no rules. They want to sit there and say they want a strong man. As soon as that man show up and start trying to lay down structure and foundation, they flee. Oh, you trying to boss me around. You trying to tell me what to do. All this nonsense. You want me to be submissive. I ain't no slave.
No, Rick,
all this goofy shit.
You're narcissistic. That's the new word.
Yeah, that or toxic masculinity. All these other shaming tactics they got trying to do to hate women.
women do what you allow them to do. And vice versa with the women. A man gonna do what you allow him to do. And if you don't know your worth, you'll put up with that bullshit. But when you know your worth and you know you don't have to put up with it, you ain't gonna put up with it.
The girl was like, well, if I decide I want to wear a string bikini, to the beach and all that, I don't deserve to be harassed. And if you got a problem with that as my man, that's a problem. He was like, look, I'm not, like, you shouldn't be harassed. You're right. You shouldn't be harassed. However, they got creeps out there. Period. There are creeps out there. And so you have to be mindful. He's like, I'm not worried about my woman per se. She fine and she putting it out. Okay, cool. However, they gonna have somebody that's gonna disrespect that boundary. They gonna have somebody that's gonna do something to handle because they don't have the respect.
Right.
That's who I'm looking out for. That's who I'm afraid of you attracting, right? And stuff. And so that's real talk. Like, you're going to attract the creeps with that. Woman is tight because she's nervous. It's a muscle. So if I'm nervous and I'm not comfortable, then it's gonna be tight. That don't mean necessarily that it was just
preach my thumbnail, cause when you're loosing like that, you wanna know what we doing? We getting ready to orgasm. It's called bottoming out. We're letting that bottom drop so you can hit what we need you to hit, so we can get what we want. If you notice, every time before the orgasm, it goes loose. Pay attention. Before her orgasm, not your orgasm is tight because she's working for you. Her orgasm is loose every time. She don't squeeze during the orgasm. She squeezes after the orgasm because she's trying to stop it. It's a reflex after. And I'm sorry, y'all not moving, shaking. I got the phone in my hand. But that's how I keep my glasses. That's how it works.
There are some decent women out there that may have kids that are able to hold it down for themselves and still be able to accept a man into their lives in a man role. So
see, the thing is, when you just say you be the woman that's holding it down by herself, this is the problem right here. In today, in the 21st century, a lot of women, they don't want to have no damn discipline. They don't want no man to come in and tell them what to do. They don't want to follow no rules. They want to sit there and say they want a strong man. As soon as that man show up and start trying to lay down structure and foundation, they flee. Oh, you trying to boss me around. You trying to tell me what to do. All this nonsense. You want me to be submissive. I ain't no slave.
No, Rick,
all this goofy shit.
You narcissistic. That's the new word.
Yeah, that or toxic masculinity. All these other shaming tactics they got trying to do. Hate women.
What's up? Another day, another episode.
Right.
Speak on It podcast. I have my partner George in the building.
Good evening.
What's happening with you, George?
I'm blessed. I hope everyone out there is doing well this evening.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we do a little news, a little icebreaker at the beginning, and then my partner Austin comes on, then Chanel come on, and then we hit the topic.
All right.
And so Austin running a little late, so he asked me to delay, so I delayed as long as I could delay. And so I saw you was in the box just then. I was like, well, hey, George here bright and early, so we'll feed off of each other until the Austin show up.
Okay, good.
All right. First off, I guess we want to talk about. Well, first, let me give another condolences. There's so much going on in the city of Bastrop, Louisiana, man. That's the home front, and man, they got death after death hidden. It's like, we hear that they hitting threes, it's past the threes, you know. So it's like, I just heard about another one yesterday. Someone just sent me a funeral thing of a young girl. She might have been 21, 22. Another brother, probably about 43, 45. They just drop it. So it's like, you got to pray, man. You got to, whatever God, whatever, I ain't even gonna say religion, whatever faith you hold, if you have any kind of faith, it's time to grab a hold to it now, man, because the way it's coming, it's like none other. You know what I'm saying? Like the brother who I inboxed you about, he was just at the store shopping, shopping with his son, and just dropped, you know, and they don't know whether it's high blood pressure, you know, he just dropped, you know, and it's just unexpected. Then the accident. Then I found out 3 weeks later, little cousin of mine was in a bad accident, and she ended up getting hit by 2 18-wheelers. So she gone. And I found that out. Just imagine you just scrolling through Facebook and you seeing people saying RIP and I'm gonna miss you. And then you go and you do your little digging, your little research. And I'm like, yeah, that's my cousin. You know, so I hit up the brother and was like, man, what's going on? And he told me what happened. She was a little rapper, you know, trying to do a little something. And, you know, it's just out there. And so I want to give a special condolences, shout out and everything, prayer to my bastard family and friends down there, man. Y'all keep your heads up, and instead of being messy down there and in everybody's business, y'all need to be getting your lives together, because he's showing you that you need to focus on things that's worth it, because the people that he's taken are people who was considered good people. You know what I'm saying? So they say the good die young. It's not the ones that's out here robbing, stealing, and jumping on folk and bullying them. You know, it's people who minding their own business and trying to get an education, going to honest work, watching football games and just lounging, and they dropping. So if karma is what it is, whoever out there doing it, you know, if it comes back, you better get yourself together.
Right. And we should take events like this and loss in general as an opportunity to realize that none of us are promised the next breath. And that when we have loved ones or people that are good to us in our life, we should endeavor every day to let them know how we feel about them and that we love them and appreciate them, because you may not have them.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of the things that I don't think I want anybody to ever regret is having lost someone and feeling like, I should have said this, I should have hugged them more, I should have showed them more appreciation. Just do it every day. You know, when you got loved ones, live every day like you might see it. That's the last time you're gonna see them, because you never know.
Yeah, like with the cousin, being that she was 18, 19, you know, just turning 21, she was trying to get in the rap game. And, you know, I'm a DJ, and I got a lot of connects all over Atlanta, Dallas, you know. And she used to always ask me to, man, hook me up. I was so busy, you know what I'm saying? And so when it hit me, you know, I booked her a show. I think one show I did her mixtape for this club I was working at, but she did the hustle herself. I just happened to be the DJ at the club, and I went on, mixed her songs together and made it a show. So I never did put forth an effort to help her, because I got burnt out on so many other wasted time rappers in the past. And so when that happened and I went through my email and I saw the song she sent me, you know what I'm saying? I was like, man, I could have done more. You know what I'm saying? So you like I say, every time last time you was on here, you hit some points and you messing me up again. So I'm probably going to limit your time coming on the show. No, but you be speaking those facts, man. And you kind of be getting me a little bit. I don't know how. I think the creator put stuff in you to throw at me, because I sure said that when I found out she had passed. And I was like, I told the wife, I said, man, she used to try to get me to hook her up, send her mixtape places, and what it was, I was burnt out. And I really didn't care for the style of rap she was doing. But on the same note, if that's what they ask you to do, man, just do it. And let whoever you send it to shoot them back and tell them what they feel about it. It wasn't my place. You know what I'm saying? It really wasn't. You know, so I'm seeing that now. You know, but yeah, once that happened, and like you say, it's nothing you can all that writing on their walls and all. I don't do that because you didn't say it while they was there. Ain't no sense in me preaching to social media. Oh, you were so great. You was the best ever. And to me, I think too much. That don't make sense to me. You know what I'm saying? That don't make sense to me. Now, if they had the family had a special page set up, and they say, you know how they have a little candle, and you go on there and you give your thoughts of that person, that's kind of different. But going on a Facebook page saying, oh, you were so great, like you say, give them their flowers while they're here. Tell them you love them while they're here. Tell them you appreciate them while they're here. And so, like I say, you hit me with that because I really know I could have done more for her. And and when I found it out, and I hate finding out stuff scrolling through goddamn social media. That's another thing I don't care for, social media, because you find out stuff through social media. You know, so and that's similar to what our topic gonna touch on tonight too. But I'm gonna wait on Austin before I talk about the little carjacking thing. But okay, who in the news? Let me see who we got. I do a little news first. All right. Kevin Gates back in the news. I'm sure you heard about him. He in the news again. He went from being punching some female for touching his balls to now he's spitting in their mouths. And so he back in the news. And this girl just happened to be pregnant. And this woman, and she went on stage. He had her to hold her head back, and he spit in her mouth. And not only was that gross, but what about the baby daddy? What about her parents? Because it went viral. What about her workplace?
Yeah. And what about her? That she allowed it?
She allowed it.
You know, you can't, I mean, you can say you can indicate points to where his misconduct is apparent, but at the same time, she went up on stage. She allowed him to do it. So now she has to carry the weight of that humiliation, and now how people view her based on something she did, and she probably wasn't thinking it's gonna be viral, which means once it's out there, it's out there.
It's out there.
And that's one thing we got to be careful with about social medias is once you post something, you can delete it, but it never goes away. So be mindful of what you do.
Yeah, that was crazy. And that goes back to the dignity, the self-respect that I preach so much about. You know, it's like the modern day women, the late teens, early 20s, 25, they have no self-respect. It's like whatever I'm gonna do, because it's like, let's just say you dating somebody and Drake come to concert, Usher, you take her to an Usher concert. She forgets she's in that relationship because Usher is in front of her serenading her, and she like kick you to the curb. She fiending all over him, and you know what I'm saying? It's just a certain way. The modern day women don't give a fuck. It's about them. Whereas I know we say y'all want to throw away and like I said, all this is still on the topic of throwing away the old values that mama and big mama and them had. But they had more respect for one another. More people had more respect for one another back in the day than what we have today. Today, we
And I
more
think,
about I'm gonna do what I want when I want. Cause
and I think the problem with that, especially not just with women but men as well nowadays, is that it manifests itself in such an insidious way that self-respect gets misconstrued into that boss B attitude. So instead of it being, instead of just self-respect and that value in yourself coming out in a positive, healthy way, it comes across in displays like this. And it goes for men and women. So,
right.
I think like you have things like, and we're gonna touch on this later.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
this ties into directly the breakdown of the family, especially the black family. This attitude of men ain't this and I don't need a man. Okay,
Yeah.
I understand it. Just because many black women have had to step up into roles that they are not intended to do because we may have failed as individuals and as men.
Exactly.
But at the same time, when you have that attitude, understand you cutting yourself off from a good man too. Because a good man don't want a woman that got that attitude.
Right.
Just like a good woman is not gonna want a man that's gonna be doggish, it's gonna be hoish. So we need to understand and get back to what self-respect really means. To me, self-respect means trying to be your best self. It really ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. And a lot of what passes as self-respect nowadays is I'm trying to impress somebody. I'm trying to be on social media. I'm showing my self-respect. If you got self-respect, you ain't got to tell nobody. It's going to come out your pores.
Yeah.
But now everybody want to be seen and want to be this and want follows and want likes and wants all this validation, external validation. It's poisoning us. Self-respect means having internal validation. It comes through hard work. But we're going to touch on that later.
We're going to go see. You preaching, right? But Kevin Gates and the spitting incident here, this is what happened.
Open your mouth. No. Stick your tongue out.
No. Stop the baby. No way.
Good girl.
No.
Good girl.
Are you serious?
I heard you want a nigga that's gon' please you. I suck your toes, but you thought me, please you. She said, "Bad man, can I say me too?" Girl, you addicted and I need you.
Just real talk. There was, and the thing is, yeah, he's culpable for that, but he's got a pattern of behavior. She knew what she was doing when she got up on that stage. And see, now for the rest of her life, whatever man she meet, gonna be able to see that and he's gonna look at her like,
Hey, but if you look at the video, you saw how once it was done, she looked like she wanted to throw up.
Right.
Because that was somebody else spit going down your throat. And she wiped her mouth and she was looking weird at some point. And that's why I put the throw up, because it's that look she gave. Like, let's just say you eat something, you trying something at a fair or something. As soon as you bite it and you try swallowing it, by your second bite, you like, it's yucky.
Right.
She paused, she wiped her mouth with nothing on her mouth. She did that again, and you can look at her face like she really wanted to throw up, but she had to play it off because she's on stage. You don't know, Kevin Gates has been known to be bisexual. He talks a lot about that gay booty stuff. And so she don't know who he been sucking on backstage. She don't know nothing. Who he done licked on before he spit. That was the bodily fluid. That was just the grossest shit.
But I tell you what, that same chick would probably suck and fuck him that night and let him come in her face and her on and down her throat. So
probably was with him the day of before they know each other. You think?
No, I don't think I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying she would if she just met him that night and he pulled her out the crowd like he did. She'll probably still, because he's Kevin Gates. You know what I'm saying? Still go sleep with him just because of his name, and she ain't getting nothing off of it.
And I just thought about something. A long time ago, I forgot what artist this was. I don't know if it was a rock and roll artist like Kiss or somebody way, way back again. But they had a jar. I don't know if you remember. It was a jar, and everybody who bought the tickets would spit in the
Spit in
jar,
it.
and he would drink the shit on stage. I don't know who that was, but that's what that kind of reminded me of. I'm
Yeah,
gonna have
I
to
remember
Google that. Or one of y'all, let me see. Google that. It was a artist. Had to been rock and roll because I don't want to put no black R&B.
No, I think it was. I want to say it was Kiss.
But
I
you know
want.
what though? But you know what though? It like let me go back to something. Like you know how you referenced that face she made after it was done. To
Yeah,
me, there was some regret. There was some shame that came out for a second. Like, man, what did I just do? But as far as that kind of behavior, I mean, people gonna do all kinds of stuff. There's a rock artist, punk artist named Gigi Allen that did similar stuff like that on stage. But
yeah,
here's the thing: you don't have to participate or be the object or the recipient of that behavior. Once you do, you set a precedent for yourself. You can't walk back.
At any point in time, she could have said no. As soon as
Right.
he started to spit, she could have moved her head. You know what I'm saying? But you put yourself in this position on stage in front of all these people, and now you're afraid to not let it happen. You're afraid to not let it happen because
yeah.
now you wondering what people gonna say. Oh, girl, you could have you chick. No, hey, I had some respect about myself. I ain't know he was gonna do that. I thought maybe he was gonna call me up and dance on me or something like that.
Right.
But not putting his spit in my mouth.
That was
Who
deep.
who
And
does
like
that?
I say, we done seen some stuff. Like I say, Prince used to call him out of the audience. He had that little heart bed, and he'll put the girl on the bed. The bed will lay down, and he'll act like he's doing sexual acts. That's one thing. But literally, hold your head back, and you watch the spit drop in the
Drip down.
mouth, man. That shit was gross. Even when I seen it for the first time, I was swallowing different. I was like, that shit was just crazy. I'm like,
Dude, I can't even use my wife toothbrush, and I kiss her every day.
yeah, my son, none of that. I can't. My eight. I can't use. I don't use that toothbrush.
Right.
It's crazy.
And it really all comes down to self-respect. That's really what it all comes down to. You know, if you allow people to disrespect you, it means you don't respect yourself. And that's a clear example of what this young lady did. I don't know nothing about her. I don't know what trauma she endured, anything like that. But hopefully this will make her, give pause to maybe, some things in her life that maybe cause
And
her
she's
to.
pregnant though.
She pregnant.
Yeah, she was pregnant.
Oh,
So
man.
what about how the baby daddy looking at her?
Well, if she was with me that night, she'd be walking home for sure. But,
Hey,
Well, apparently he wasn't there. Now,
apparently she pulled the Kiki Palmer. But not only will she be walking home, she probably be if she was with me, she'll be walking home with a damn knot in the back of her head. I'm just saying, I don't condone.
I ain't gonna put no knot on her. I ain't gonna put no knot on her head, but it definitely would I don't believe in that. They don't
I
solve
wouldn't
nothing.
intentionally. I just tend to snap sometimes. I snap.
Yeah, we got to start that snapping over. We gonna talk about
Yeah, I've been trying to work on it, but I snap.
Yeah.
But
there's a whole bunch of dudes in prison behind snapping. But
yeah, hey, that's if they call them. She ain't gonna get a chance to call.
this dude here.
But hey, I'm just all here clowning. Never put your hands on a woman, man. That's not what you do. I don't care what she do. She could be beating you up. Do not touch that woman, man.
Mm-mm.
But
not just because. And see,
but yeah,
here's the thing. When you just brought that up, let's add something to it. Let's not only say don't hit a woman. We got to look at why we say don't do that. Let's not just not do it because we're afraid of legal repercussions or whatever we may, whatever karmic debt we wrap up. Not do it because it's the right thing not to do. It's
right.
just the right thing
Now,
to do.
so go ahead. Finish your statement.
No, you good.
No, so we sit around here and tell our young men not to hit a woman.
Right.
But this woman can hit on this dude all she wants to, and he's supposed to walk away, turn the other cheek, or whatever. but you still need to. We need to teach them to defend themselves. You're not gonna beat her like you would beat a man. Now you can stop her from hitting you. You can
Mhm.
grab her. You can hold her, or whatever, something like that. But yeah, as far as just beating her down, no, don't do that. But
No.
defend yourself because there have been situations where men have been killed
Right.
with not defending themselves.
But
Right.
what about can you slap the shit out of him? That's a
No, you can't do that.
damn.
No, you
All
can't do
right, never mind then. Don't pay me. Dang. But yeah, I get what y'all say. Yeah. So I
that.
just grab, if I
Yeah,
don't
grab,
snap.
grab and get away from the
Dude,
situation. See, what we got to do too is men is that women that do that, we know they throw it off. We know
We
they
need to get
crazy,
away
but we
from it.
stand with them.
But now
Exactly, we need to get away from
on the
them.
cool, I talk a lot of crap on here. On the cool, when I was in that situation, I did what Austin said. I grabbed, and held her, picked her up. And when I saw in my mind that I could get violent with that person, I knew right then I had to leave. And that's
Right,
why my motto is if you got to beat them, you don't need them.
right,
So, um, and that was a long term relationship. And when that happened, I got out of that relationship in less than a year. I weaned myself completely off and I left. Because I know when it came to that point and I saw the thoughts that I had, I was like, dude, that's a wrap. And it scared
right.
me because I didn't care. It wasn't no, don't do this, don't do that, man. It was like, I didn't care.
and
Yeah,
that's where a lot of people mess up because you get into a physical altercation with someone that you're supposed to be in love with and that's supposed to love you. It doesn't get harder for them to hit you. It gets easier the more
easy.
it
right,
happens. So, and then it comes a way of your relationship, how you deal with disputes in your relationship. And when you find that your arguments turn into physical altercations,
it's time to go.
it's time to leave that relationship. Not on the second hit, on the first one.
Right.
Right.
Forget all that, baby. I'm sorry. I ain't mean to do it. I
Nah,
snapped.
and you know what, Austin? Now that I think about it, I didn't even apologize. That's how I knew it's time to go. And
Right.
so I left. I'm talking about she didn't even know I was going. That's when I just ghosted out. She came home one day, all my stuff was gone, bro. I couldn't. I was like, if you beat them, you gotta beat them. You don't need them. Now,
Yeah.
Because we as men, especially as black men in relationships, and this is something I want to delve into as we go along with my nonprofit. We don't deal, the way we're supposed to deal with relationships and conflict in relationships and loss of relationships is has totally fucked us over because we taught not to deal with it. We taught gone to the next when it don't matter instead of dealing with that hurt or that trauma that we
right,
incur in these relationships. We never
especially
deal with
him
it.
and I.
Right.
We
We never
know we
deal with
have options. We didn't deal with it. We just was like, okay, that's how you feel, and we got ghosts. We
it.
killed the feelings and moved on to the next.
Right.
And see
So you,
now,
like I say, bro, you be coming on here, you be hitting some stuff, and I think it's the fact that we all from different worlds and different parts of the globe, because you be hitting you hitting some stuff, because we never stuck around. I mean, because we try to do good. We know how to treat them well. We know how to make them feel worth and value. And then the minute they disrespect, it just that one time we start losing feelings, and
Because we
but
feel
we get
but
rejected.
ghosts.
Because we feel unfulfilled. We feel rejected. We feel let down. And the thing is, we as black men, and we ain't taught this. We never deal with our emotional investment in relationships. So a lot of times we inadvertently make things go worse because we ain't dealing with our stuff. And if you broken, if you got trauma, if you got issues, you're not gonna have a good relationship no matter what the person does or does not do. See, a lot of people get hung up on being in relationships that they don't understand. Sometimes you got to be single and work on you. You bring the best part of yourself to a relationship, then you got some. But two broken people, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. So sometimes you have to take a step back and work on yourself And maybe you can work on it with that person in conjunction. Get yourself right for you enter a relationship so you can avoid a lot of what we're going to talk about it with the family, a lot of what we talked about previously with therapy, a lot of broken homes and all this kind of stuff. Because we as men ain't dealing with our emotions. We talk this week. Now this, that. At what point are we going to wise up and realize we got to stop? We got to do what the white folks do. They go to therapy. We
Well,
got to do what they do. Not
yeah.
because they're somehow better than us, but because it's part of a process.
Well, that's one thing that of course we tend not to do is deal with our process, deal with our issues, going through those steps to get where you need to be. Me personally, I know myself. Although
Right.
I went to counseling, did the counseling thing, but I know myself very well.
Right.
And you have a unique few that are able to move on to the next relationship without pulling all of that baggage with you
Mhm.
with them. But for the majority of people that haven't dealt with things from their past or things in their even in their current situations to clear their minds, their emotions, and they're conscious of those things, then yes, they're bringing that past relationship into what they currently have, and then they wonder why that relationship is not working. It's because you're still living in your past relationship.
Right. And I was going to wait to make this point, but I was thinking about therapy and what's all involved. And this is something I realized even as close as yesterday or today. A lot of people feel like when you go in therapy, when you seek counseling, that somehow it makes it easier. Tell you the truth about counseling and therapy. That counseling, that therapy is just as exhausting, it's just as painful, it's just as triggering as what initially caused the trauma in the first place. So that's why you have a lot of people, especially us, that I feel like don't stick with therapy because it's not easy. Because the thing is, therapy and healing does not happen in a vacuum. When you going through therapy and you dealing with your shit and you dealing with your trauma, you dealing with that while you in the world, while you still interacting with other people. So sometimes you're gonna have flare-ups, you're gonna have those issues, you're gonna have those things. It's gonna make it difficult, but you gotta stick with it. You gotta work together on it. So that's the reason why I think a lot of us don't embark upon therapy and don't stick with it when we do try is because we go into it thinking, well, I'm in therapy, I'm talking it out. Okay, everything should be getting better. Sometimes you get worse before you get better. And that's one thing I learned personally. That healing and dealing with therapy is hard. It's gonna be painful. It's gonna be stressful. But you got to go through that pain to get to a point of healing. And once we learn to accept that and learn to put the work into ourselves emotionally, spiritually, and mentally, especially as Black men, then we can start to see a progression. Then we can start to see things, especially on the individual level. Because, like I say all the time, if you don't want to hear nothing else, hear that it's keeping us broke.
Yep. And the hardest thing is hearing that you are not good. You're not a good person. You
Right.
have some things that about, I shouldn't say that you are flawed, that you have flaws. It's hard to hear that. It's
It
hard
is.
to come to grips with, hey, I might not be that good of a person. When
Yeah.
I would, and I'm not saying me personally, but this is
You saying
statements. This is what I'm saying. I'm about to make a statement, and I don't want anybody to think that I'm saying this about me.
is
So
you.
when you whatever, so when a person is saying that, yeah, I have beat on several of my women, right?
Mhm.
Don't do that.
Okay.
And then when a person is saying that, hey, I have been using drugs to mask my feelings, to hide behind my feelings. I don't know who you're pointing at, son, but you know, to mask my feelings. I have been hiding behind this bottle, you know. Then you start to peel off those
Those
layers.
layers, yeah.
Yeah, you start
Right.
to peel off those layers of negativity and get
Right.
down to
Taking accountability.
what accountability and understanding why you have these issues, and
Right.
and actually look at these issues with a sober mind, not just from drugs or alcohol, but a sober mind as being mentally aware of who you are, how you are, and how to deal with and tear off those things that are not good about you.
Mhm.
Right. And the only way that's going to change too, and I'm glad you brought up the thing about accountability. That's something I espouse constantly. That's the first, to me, that's one of the first tenets of being a man is being to accept accountability. The thing is, we've been so conditioned to hide that, to hide our insecurities, to hide our pain. It's hard for us to accept that accountability because we automatically take it personally and assume it's a flaw. It's not a flaw, it's an opportunity. Take those things that you are not good at. As long as you're working to heal them in earnest, then it can become strengths. But when you sit on them and you mask them with womanizing, you mask them with drugs, you mask them with other things, and they can't come to the service and get the air they need for that wound to heal, you're gonna keep having that problem. But accountability is key. You have to be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, look, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that, and deal with it before you can go out in the world, deal with a woman, deal with your children, deal with anything. So since now we are actually as men, and I want to thank y'all for having me on this forum, begin to discuss our mental and emotional health because they're not the same thing. Maybe we can start working on that thing, but we got to start with that accountability first.
Right. And again, I say this, you have to look at yourself. You have to stop blaming other people. You can't blame everybody else for your issues, problems, and concerns. You have to look at yourself. It starts with you. You have to clean yourself up first. And
Right.
then you can start making amends with these people that you felt that you've wronged over all of these years. Right? Then you can start saying, I'm this and I'm that to you and to whoever else that you're trying to be that to.
Mhm. Yeah, you got to hear yourself first. And here's the thing too: when you get to that point where you're ready to go to people that you have maybe have committed transgressions against, you got to understand something. Just because you healed and just because you apologize, don't mean they are, and don't mean you can go and tell your ex, "Hey, I know I messed up with this." That don't mean they go accept it. That don't mean they at point to reconcile it either. So you got to be prepared that when you heal, you're gonna lose a lot of relationships.
Yeah.
You're gonna lose a lot of them.
And it might not be a bad thing.
It might not be a bad thing. You can fix what you can fix. If the other person's willing to fix it, really committed to fixing it, you can fix it. But somebody might apologize to me. I might be like, I don't give a damn. You can go on. All they can do is accept it and move forward. So understand we can only control ourselves and our mind and how we address things. We can't control other people, and that's a big part of recovery. Because you should never set the expectation of I've done this, now they should react this way. You can't control it.
Right. Exactly.
And that was my thing. Okay, now, second point on the news, on the entertainment trending topics, is that Tia Mowry, whatever her name is, she back in the news. After going through her filing for divorce, saying it was a graduation, and all that. When they went to court, she don't want him to get a dime of her millions, even though they've been together 24 whatever years, married 12, 14 something. Tried to drag him through the mud. He kind of been silent on it. But if you'd have been with somebody for 24 years and y'all signed prenups, 24 years, she denied him a dime of her fortune. So now she's out there trying to date. So she's realizing that when we talk about it all the time on this platform, social media sells you false hope. Right. Women that have good men that have good women that DM will make you turn your back on the person that's your ride or die, that person that's meant for you, that thinking that it's so much more out there,
And it's not.
But she kind of picked the wrong time to get out there and test these new waters out here. Because the brothers that's out there today, like what his name, Cat Williams, the niggas that's out here today, these niggas, they ain't about that. They ain't about that. And she's finding that out. So I'm gonna play the clip, and then George, you're gonna come back with your statement after this clip. But she
Sure.
realized it ain't all that she thought it was.
How hard is it in the dating world now?
Oh my god!
What is it like out there for
Do we
a
have
single
a
woman?
shot of tequila? No. No,
I haven't been
serious.
single for 5 years, so
Huh?
I don't know what this world is like out there. But I know it. But from what I see and from what I hear, it is tough.
It is very tough, and it is exhausting. Like,
It's exhausting.
I want to throw the towel in. Someone had told me, and I wanted to be like, no, I disagree with you, and I don't want to believe it. My last relationship, when dating was, when I was, dating this person, it was beautiful. It was amazing. It was wonderful. There was courting that was, involved. And I was saying how I feel like that's no longer, present, meaning like people just don't court each other anymore. And this person was like, well, that's old news. Like people just don't do that anymore. There's just this whole new way of doing things. And I'm like, you mentioned tradition, and I think that's where it kind of needs to go back to, where, a man is, courting a woman and showing her, how much he appreciates her and wants her and loves her or wants to be with her. They have this mentality right off the bat that there is someone else. Do you know what I mean? Like there could be someone else.
Is it that they're the prize?
Yes. Yes.
We talking deep here. We about to get into it.
Oh my God, that the man is the prize.
The man is the prize.
Yes. I'm talking loud. Yes. Also, it seems as if men are now just looking at women as objects. Things are so, it's like instant gratification. You know what I mean? They just want something like quick and easy and now.
She's naive. I hear some naive, like when she talked about how men want instant gratification sometimes. And I'm like, you didn't know that? You didn't know that? And you want tradition, but here's the thing. It's still guys out there that are traditionalists. I'm like that. You know what I'm saying? In relationships. I'm hold the door open, I'm all that. A lot of women don't want that. But if she's going to want that, she needs to put herself in a position to be around it and find that. But there's something probably in her that, that ain't quite where it should be for her to have that. Just because you want certain things in a relationship at that time, you might not be ready for it. That's what it sounds like she's going through. And she's getting out here seeing how the real world is and how men really, really are. And now it's blowing her mind. So maybe she should concentrate on just being single and working on herself before she out here trying to date and do all that.
But
see, we married to the idea that we supposed to be in relationships, we supposed to have a mate. That ain't always true. Sometimes you got to be by yourself and get yourself straight. Then
true, but she been in a relationship for 24 years.
Right.
So that's gonna be hard. Yeah, and when you've been in a relationship that long with one person, yeah, you'll probably take a month or two, maybe two months off, trying to see what's out there. That's all it takes you long enough to see that hanging with your girls get boring, hanging with the fellas, if it's the guy, get boring, going to the same clubs and bars, hearing the same music, seeing the same people. You done been in that relationship for 24 years. Now you're single. It's fun when you first get out of that. Oh, girl, yeah, I'm free. Everybody turn up. But then when your girlfriends got their booze, and they say, well, hey, girl, I'm gonna kick it with boo tonight. Your boo gone. Same way when the guy like, shit, man, I'm finna go get with the hen, and you looking like, hey, man, we was turning up for 2 weeks. Yeah, man, but she want me to be with her tonight, and then you got to go drive home to that empty house, that empty apartment, that empty condo. It's not fun because you were used to coming home to somebody. You was used to coming home to a family environment, a family atmosphere. That's not fair anymore. So once reality hits you in the face, it's a different tune.
So there would not be an issue. So I'm quite sure she can get anybody to come home with her. Anybody, any dude. Cause that's how a lot of dudes are. We don't sit up
Yeah.
there, don't get upset, don't say that. But what she's looking for, okay, so she was in a relationship with this dude for 24 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's just like being in jail for 24 years, right? What I'm saying is everything is new to you. Dating is new to you. Things have changed within that 24-year period. Things have changed. You have been in this relationship with this one person doing these things that you all do together. Now you have to deal with all of these new personalities and new this and new that in the dating world, right? So
Mhm.
and so I don't know if I think she's ignorant to the fact of how things have changed, and only because she's been in that relationship for 24 years. And she made another statement that men only see women as objects. That's been for years.
Exactly.
I'd be like, what else you got?
Men have always used women as toys. That's all they have ever been. That's why you had the Playboys. That's why you had the Hustler magazines. That's why you have OnlyFans. That's why you have strip clubs, and that's why they make so much money, because men see women as objects. They don't see them, and some men, I have to say some men,
Okay.
don't see them as a helpmeet. They don't see them as that. They see them as things to use, possess, and be done with when it's time to be done with.
Yeah, and a lot of that too. It really comes down to you have to you have to sit down and be honest with what is it that you really want. Like me personally, I want a wife one day. I want a partner. I want a wife. I want to be able to do that. So here's the thing. I can't put myself in circles where that ain't gonna happen. I can't go to the strip club thinking I'm gonna find her there. So
Some
she may be
have.
going to the wrong places. Some have. The law averages say it ain't gonna happen, So you have to know who you are and know what it is you looking for and know what you really need, but also know what you willing to give, how much you willing to invest, what you willing to take, because building a relationship, a real relationship, which is something I think especially most women really want, that's hard. It's gonna come with a lot of pain. It's gonna come with a lot of stuff, but you got to go through that to get through the end goal. A lot of women expect, because they sitting on that hoo-ha, that's gonna get the many man they want, and
Oh,
they get
no.
what they want. No, it don't work like that.
Especially now.
Well, a guy that actually wants, in your situation, that wants a wife, that wants a real wife, that wants someone that's going to be there for them emotionally, someone that's going to be there to stimulate their mind, to stimulate their emotions, to assist with their pain. Those type of women aren't thinking that they cool gonna get whatever and gonna be able to hold somebody. It's those ones that um quote, what's that girl named, Sexy Red. It's those that her following, you know.
Yeah.
It's those that think that their vagina is going to keep someone. But you take a woman that has been through relationships and experiences of life, and then they know what they want, then they're not going to waste your time, and they're not going to allow you to waste their time.
Right.
If they identify you as a fuck boy and tell you to move on, then that's what it is.
Right.
That's not your circle.
That's
you
not
move
your
on.
That's right. That's
you
not
don't
your
give up.
You got to date on your level, who shares your ideals, who shares your goals, who shares your purpose. Because the funny thing about it is that a lot of times we go into relationships based on the superficial and external. Sex gonna fade, looks gonna fade. You gotta look at it like this. I'm with this person. If something happen, I get paralyzed from the neck down, and I can't do shit for myself. Is that person gonna still wipe my ass? Are they still gonna be there? That's what you need to be looking at.
A lot of men ain't looking like that though. But I feel where you coming from.
Yeah.
Women not either.
Women not either. And that's what we got the problems for. Instead of building those relationships with somebody that's really going, literally, if you get paralyzed from neck down, are they gonna still rock for you instead of all this external superficial mess that's gonna fade? Because money can fade, looks fade, all that fade. You got to look beyond that and say what's gonna be really real. If I'm going through it, I'm broken the flow crying. Is this person gonna give a damn? But you know, we never really grow up in certain. You know, we want what's pretty, we want what's shiny, and that's cool. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That'll get you in the door, but what's gonna keep you there?
Right. I mean, of course, we want something that is aesthetically pleasing to us. I mean, I'm just not gonna close my eyes and just listen to voices and be like, oh, yep, that's the one. That doesn't work for me. And then when I open my eyes, then she's not something that I'm physically attracted to. So of course, I'm going to have to be physically attracted to you first. Then once we get past that physical attraction, and I'm not talking about sex, I'm just talking about looks, right? Someone that fits the profile, your visual profile. Then we get into what type of person is this. And one thing that people don't look at, they don't look at a person's family history or their sexual promiscuity. Right.
That's their past though. You don't supposed to judge a woman.
No. Yeah. You don't supposed to judge them on their past, but you learn from their past. You're not judging them. You're not judging them. You are learning from their past.
Bring up a woman's past, you a lame. You don't supposed to bring up a woman's past.
You ain't supposed to judge them. You ain't supposed to judge them, but you know we all really do.
Yeah.
If the woman tell us they did this and that, and it was dropping off and busting it open like that, in the back of our mind, at first we thinking, oh, this cool because we new to it. We like, oh, I want some of that. But after a while, when you're thinking about wifing them, that's gonna come to the back of your mind and be like, well, I don't know.
If a
you
chick
be real about that too, body count is important.
Yeah.
It matters to dudes. If it don't matter,
man, you should have been on here last week. But yeah, I didn't think you would like that topic, so I didn't bother you.
Now bother me.
So if you tell a dude that you was busting it open on the back of the bus in high school for the whole football team, I got a problem with that.
Me too.
And I guarantee you, if you told a chick that you was busting it open for dudes down on the corner or wherever, then I'm quite sure they gonna have a problem with that.
Well, remember we had a girl on here previous episodes.
We did.
He said that if a guy was sucking dick last week and he said he don't do it no more, that was his past, and she would talk to him.
I remember that, and I would love to see that in reality.
Because it ain't gonna
happen.
happen.
She said that's his past. She can't judge him on his past.
No, you're not judging him. Again, you're not judging, you're learning.
You know, let's be for real. We always say don't judge, don't get preconceived notions, but we all do it anyway.
Now, George,
we all do it anyway.
You say what I say. It's in our nature. Because I've tried to date several, and when I hear that conversation, what they used to do and how they can do this and do that, I instantly get turned off. And I don't give a damn if she better than Beyonce, that whoever people think is hot. I've been sitting in rooms and at dinner tables with these people at their parents' house and hear certain things they say and get instantly turned off. I'm the type, and like Austin and I, we could say what they consider a bad bitch, chick, whatever, can come around us butt ass naked. But if we know she a hoe and she'd have been there, our dick will not jump. It won't do nothing. We just looking at her like, okay, when she gonna put her clothes on and when she gonna leave?
I've been in this situation. I've had it happen, and you exactly right. It's like no interest, and a lot of times women think, you know, we're gonna go for anything. Now that ain't necessarily true because we have a sense of discernment with a woman.
When you didn't have it.
And just on the same level, they have the same right to have the same sense of discernment as far as our body counts.
Yeah.
Because we as men need to be like I'm teaching my sons. You don't want to go, you don't necessarily want to have a high body count. You want to have, and I guess I'm calling that old-fashioned and traditionalist. To me, intimacy is something that you shouldn't enter too lightly. Because first of all, on the real, you need to think anytime you lay out a woman, that she may get pregnant and you got to deal with her the rest of your life. So you know she throwed off and you know she crazy. Hey man, you walked into that.
Yeah,
But we
especially
need
with
to
abortion.
we need to have a greater sense of chastity about ourselves sometimes and protect our virtue as men. I ain't saying don't do what you do, but
Well,
just think more.
you know, I actually had one woman that was like, we can't kick it. She's like, your body count's too high. We can't kick it. And I
Mhm.
respected that. I said, well, cool. I understand. Nice meeting you. Have a great day. You know, but a lot of people don't want to put again their negative stuff out there. I'm not saying when you first meet. I'm saying when you start to get into that
Yeah.
serious part of the relationship. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to have to be completely okay with you as a person, which includes your past. I have to be totally okay with that because if we at your family reunion and one of your cousins be like, "Girl, you know when you was a bust down the club, you was a hoe, girl. What? You was a hoe? What I
The
thought you?"
past should not matter, according to what the women say. Whenever you say anything
Bullshit.
about, and it mostly be
Bullshit.
the
It
hoes,
matters.
it mostly
It
be the
matters.
304s. If any, we can log off right now and go to Twitter. I mean, go to TikTok, and you're gonna see that same topic, body count, and all the women who started screwing at 13 and got 40 bodies at 25. They hate men that talk about body count. You a weak, low down, insecure man if you worrying about a woman's body count.
And so let me clear something up about that insecurity because of a person with a high body count. It's not that we have an insecurity, it's that we don't want something that's been all over town. We
Right.
don't want to walk in somewhere and someone has experienced our woman the same way that we're experiencing them. No,
Right.
I don't want to look across the room and it's be like three or four dudes over there that knows what my woman feel like, how she move, how she smell. None of that.
What tat she got on her thigh?
None of that.
Yeah,
I
we
just
don't
I
want
don't
that.
I want to feel like my woman is special.
Right.
And I
But
want to feel
women
like
don't
she kept her.
understand that.
I
And
want
what
her
we
to.
gonna do, we usually just touch up on that, George. But what we gonna do, I want us to seriously do a panel and we all gonna promote it for 2 weeks. And I want us to break down why body counts really should matter. Because everybody want to come in and say it don't matter. And I touch up on the issue of pair bonding. I lose them when I say that. They lost.
Right.
The women lost. But they don't understand. Women that have back to back to back sex with no feelings, it's gonna be hard for her to catch feelings for the man she called herself want to be with when she threw home. And that's when a lot of them they get 35, 40. Now they in the church, they wearing the skirts and they looking for a husband when they done screwed half the town. If they live on the west side, they done screwed 40% of the west side and 20% of the east side, and then now they want to marry you. That's the
No.
problem I got with it. That's the problem I got with it.
And I'm gonna say this too, because I know we got women listening. I don't want them to think we just ragging on them. Like I said earlier, the same goes for us. We can't be sitting up there with no high body count thinking we're gonna get a high quality woman. I know it's different from me. I know that. I'm not naive to that respect. But your body count gonna follow you. It's gonna come out one way or another. It can come out as far as your cousin, like you said, your cousin, man, she was a thought back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Because like the way I am, once I'm with a woman, once somebody else touches, I ain't interested.
Me, I'm talking about
not
even in relationships that I've been in, soon as we split and 3 days then passed, I'm already thinking somebody else in touched her. So to me, she's contaminated and I don't want it. If I ain't heard from her in 3 days, or I could be at a grocery store and just see a guy talking to her, I'm automatically figuring he done already hit, or he about to hit. So I don't go back. I never went back.
Yeah, you check out emotionally. Like that's how I am. I'm like, If I break up with somebody and then in the meantime, no matter what's going on, they with somebody else, I ain't interested no more.
Yep.
It's just,
And
I'm sorry, you know,
yep.
people can say it's wrong, but that's just how I am. You know,
And
we as men, we got our egos, we got our insecurities. That plays a lot into it too.
I have to say I used to be like that because the person that I married now, we dated way back when, broke up,
Your
it was
situation different.
16 year span,
Your
right?
situation different
Right. And
because you guys didn't split up on no
no bullshit.
bad, no
Yeah.
fuck shit. You had a situation. You didn't want to put her through a burden. He went back to his ex, who he knew could nurse him back to health, and he didn't want her to have to do that because she had so many things that she had to do from school to work. Her career was ahead of her, and he didn't want to stunt her career with his health issue that he was going through. So he was like, instead of being with you, baby, making you take a pause, and then if they don't work out, she blames him for not succeeding. He chose to, I'm gonna take the back road, baby. You go ahead. I'm gonna go back over here, and boom. That's his approach. So yours is kind of different than a person who say F you, and then y'all split up, and she say the hell with you, and you say the hell with her. Your situation was totally different. So you going back, that's different. But the relationships and the marriages you were in when y'all said F you, it's over. I can't stand you. I can't stand you either. You never went back to them. So,
No, and so again, yeah, going in reverse never worked for me. Once we were done, we were done. My person, my wife now, she has always been my person, and that love thing that we have now is so great. But those things that I dealt with, those women that I dealt with in the past, they were just, like she said, objects. Those were just things, experiences that I had to have in order to be who
the
I am
man
and
you are today.
where I am today, emotionally, and mentally, right? So I went through some phases. You know what I'm saying? And we have to. So one thing that I had to deal with from my past was I never tried to never let myself love anyone. One, because I never wanted to be hurt. Because I grew up in the situation that I grew up in. Uh, it could have been painful if I would have been a person that allowed my heart to feel or my emotions to show. So I had to harden myself in order to prevent any any damage to be done, right?
Right.
And then as I started getting older and I started going into relationships, I never allowed myself to feel or to go over to the point of where I'm in love with a person where they could hurt me.
Right.
So, I don't pride myself in saying that I've never been hurt because it's really a negative because I never loved anyone enough to be hurt.
Right. And that's the dilemma. It's like, in order to really express that love for a person, which I have experience with, you open yourself up to getting hurt, and that's just a chance you take.
Right.
It's just a matter of how you recover from it and how you deal with it. And that's really where we as men can really be a detriment to ourselves because we aren't equipped with ways to deal with it. We are not taught, man, when a woman break your heart, this would, so we get out there, and because I say we all got that one woman that broke us. Every guy I've ever known, we've all talked about that one woman, and we sometimes never recover from that. Even if we meet the one, whatever that means, we still carry those wounds with us because we aren't taught to acknowledge them or process them. So when we do get to the point where we can't process them, it's so hard on us and so hard on them. That's what I'm really working to try to get past. Let's try to, especially with our young men, because I'm trying to develop a course for 8th grade boys about 13 when they really start getting interested in girls, and I want to teach them some aspects of that because, you know, that can determine the rest of your life.
Right.
You know, I spent so much time in relationships and living for other people. I neglected myself. Now that I'm focusing on myself and getting my bag, all things going great. But I wasted a lot of, I don't want to say I wasted a lot of time. I think I didn't necessarily focus my efforts on myself because I was worried about said relationship. I was worried about said marriage because I was not whole enough to endeavor upon that. And my spouse, girlfriend, fiance, whatever you want to call them, wasn't whole either.
Right.
So we got to learn to make sure that we hold, then we come together in relationships. Like I said, I've been through some shit this year. You know what I'm saying? I could write a book just off this year. Wow. But for the past couple months, I started building myself up. And ever since I've been doing it, things going better. I'm not really worried or focused, or the majority of my mindset is not going to a woman or relationship. It is to a certain extent because feelings are feelings, okay, yada, yada, yada. But if you do that, if you pursue a relationship or something like that at the expense of yourself,
yeah, I mean,
then you got a problem.
We all can get caught up in that, or find yourself drifting in that area where you were. But at some point, you have to step back, and because I went through that, and you have to step back and realize who you are. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, sometimes you lose yourself trying to gain or keep someone else. You know what I'm saying? That woman. And so I was like, nigga, who the fuck you are? You know what I'm saying? What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? If that person's not your fit, then get out of it. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes we be so wrapped up into that you can't do that because you've been blindsided all this time. You got deeper and deeper in that hole, and now you realize that you drowning and you sinking, and now you like, let me get out of this. Right. You know, so at some point I woke up and was like, nigga, who are you? You know what I'm saying? Wow. And
it may not be the fact that person may not be for us, that person may be meant for us, but it just might be at that time we still have work to do as individuals to get ourselves to that point. Sometimes they meant for us, sometimes they not.
But one thing I want to say, men, if the woman does not want you, if she's not your person, you cannot make her be your person. You got to start letting these women go. You cannot stalk them. You cannot try to keep ties on them, and you cannot kill them.
Right.
This murder suicide stuff because you done lost this woman and you can't have her. Dude, she's not the only woman out there.
And George, you know, back in the day, songs, and see, I'm a DJ, so I have to DJ for all decades. I go all the way back to the late 60s, 70s, 80s to today. There are a lot of songs that preached in the 70s and 80s that there's other fish in the sea, as they used to call it.
That's true.
Men would say that all the way to the deal, which had Babyface in it, said there's other fish in the sea. So did Pebbles. She got a song that's saying there's other fish in the sea. It's like we were taught, and then when you have options, you know that you can move on. And then I was thinking that everybody thought like that until I started meeting people who felt like they didn't have options. You know, it's like when I'm talking to somebody, my thing used to be, I got 3 to choose from, 2 and a possible. I'm always keep 2 and a possible. That was my thing. I'm gonna have one that I'm going for, and if this don't work, I got that one. Then if that don't work, I just might call her if don't nothing else come up. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't care, and like Austin said, I didn't care for the hurt, and so I wouldn't allow myself to fall in love. I would date, I know how to go through the motions because every man in my family, my uncles, brothers, everybody was married. And I used to live with different brothers and sisters. So I knew how to be a good man. I knew what was expected of what's the world considers a good man, how to treat them. But I didn't get a emotional connection to them.
Next, yeah.
But we'd go out, buy the food, help do this, pay that. But if she woke up one day and said, I don't think we need to be together, I'm like, cool, give me a little shit. I'm good. You know, and then 3 days later, maybe a week, I'm talking to somebody else that I already had a prospect that I might flirt with while we're in there, but you know, I'm in a relationship.
Right.
So I never got an emotional connection, you know what I'm saying? And that's why the when I used to tell people, man, that shit over, just move on. It is what it is. And they looking at me like, man, how can I do that? And I'm like, nigga, it's so many other. I can give you this person, hey, here go this number. Call her, this her sister, cousin. You can talk to her. They wasn't trying to hear it because they didn't see it like that because they was emotionally involved and attached to that person. So so when I met my other co-host that used to be on here, he broke that down. He's like, man, everybody ain't like you. And I was like, it is what it is. But Austin and I tell people, like he just said, if they don't want you, move around. But what about the guy that's emotionally, financially, and all kind of leads attached to that person? He can't just do that. And that's where the killings come from. You don't know what that man's sacrifice did without, whether he turned his back on his mom, his dad, his family, his job, all that. For that one woman, for her to go and screw her coworker and tell him he ain't nothing. Well, if you was half the man,
but who bad was that? Who bad was that? Because you shouldn't have to turn on your family to be with someone. You shouldn't have to turn. It happens
a lot.
It does happen, and I can agree with that. It does happen.
And on the same note, when you grown, and then like I said, my uncle told me this. He said, hey man, once you get a family, that's your immediate family. You can't be jumping up taking care of your mom and daddy. That is your family. So when you have to take money out that house or have to do this and that maneuvers that's going to affect the family, you got to talk to your wife now.
Yeah.
And even moms. When I talk to moms about funeral arrangements, she said, you got to talk to her now. You married.
Yeah.
So whether I asked her about whether I gonna get a plot and this and that, she said, that's between you and your wife now. You married. Once she saw, I said I do. Her paying my funeral plots and all that shit was over. It was between me and the wife now. You know, and so I was like, hey, damn, you know. And I didn't know that's how, but that's how, you know, people think. And when people turn on their families, people sacrifice their savings to be with this woman, and she go and mess over them and then act like it's nothing. Man, I can understand. I don't condone the suicide, killing, whatever you just said, homicide, suicides, but I understand to a degree what a man can go through to do that. I wouldn't per se do that.
I can't understand it. I can't understand it.
I'm like,
because I can't understand it because
but I understand.
I don't understand it because maybe it's because I don't look at losing
a woman,
whatever a woman or material things, because I can get all of that back. I can get another woman.
Moment,
even at that moment,
think about that. He don't think about that.
But see, that's why you put yourself in a position where you see your woman as a possession. You see her as a possession.
Maybe
to what you're saying.
A possession and an obsession.
It took my old co-host to make me see the way I see, because I thought and saw exactly like you.
Here's the thing. The problem comes when you love somebody too much. When you let yourself love somebody too much,
and they don't love you the same.
It's not even matter whether they love you back or not. They can love you back, but it's still unhealthy to love somebody that much. Which I understand that ideology of that. Well, I can't have. I might as well. You know, I've been there. I know that. But at the same time, you have to realize, you know, what your culpability is in a relationship going, however it went. You know, you start thinking about, well, damn, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. So, you know, you can love somebody too much. And then see, that complicates things for us men because we already have a hard time forming those emotional attachments. You already told, don't do that. You already told all the time, don't fall for no woman, don't get pee-whipped. But it's going to happen at some point to all of us. So when things end, it's going to be messy unless we do the things that we talk like we're doing right now, talking about it, getting it out there and starting to have that dialogue to where you can understand you went through the same thing I did.
Well,
so let's talk about it. Go ahead.
I have to disagree with you on one point of loving someone too much. You can never love someone too much. The main thing is loving yourself more.
Exactly. And I'm glad you said it because that was going to be my next point. Loving, I thank you for helping me clarify that. Loving someone at the expense of yourself, of your love for yourself.
Right.
So you know, if you're not whole though, but you're gonna fall into that trap if you're not whole because you're not truly loving yourself. Until you can love yourself, you can't love nobody else. All you can do is be obsessed with them.
Just like that relationship I was in that I had to get out of. Mm-hmm. I love myself enough to know that that wasn't for me. So I got out of that relationship. And I love myself enough and her enough to remove myself out of that goddamn relationship. And a lot of guys that do the suicide thing, they don't, and females too, they don't have self-love. And that's the deal. Because people think self-love is selfish. No, you have to love yourself. To me, you have to love yourself to learn how to love others.
Right.
If I don't love myself, I can't really, I'm not going to know 100% how to love that next person. I'm going to keep going through the motions of what I think love is, what I see love is. I'm able to love my children because I have self-love and I know what moved me as a child growing up. And even though things are different, but you on the right track, you know that if the train is supposed to go north, you're going north. You may run into it may be an adjustment, a detour, but you're going in that right direction because you have self-love. You know what self-love is. A lot of people that do that killing, that murder, suicides, they don't love themselves. And like you guys said, you have to love yourself more.
Yeah. And one thing.
Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead, George.
A lot of that is predicated on what love is because we listening to society's idea of what love is, and what's important. We think, oh, you got to be passionately deep in love to be with them. Sometimes the person you're in love with ain't the one for you. Sometimes you need to bury your best friend. You know what I'm saying? We get these ideas of what being in love and love is, and you think it's all this and all this great sex. And I guess I think more organically about it. I really do think because of how things I've been through, I think in terms of, man, if something happened to me, who gonna be there to not lift me up, but to be at my side? Man, this sex stuff can fade. Them look stuff can fade.
Yeah,
think about what love really is.
That's played out.
Yeah.
Today,
one thing I want people to stop talking about or saying is you have to love your person unconditionally. I have conditions to my love. I have conditions to my love because I might still love you, but I'm not gonna be with you if you cheat. I'm not gonna be with you if we got to fight. Those are not those. That's where my condition of love is. I do not have unconditional love.
Well, there's no such thing as unconditional love. It don't exist. I'm writing a book. I wrote a whole passage the other night about how unconditional love does not exist because you do something for somebody, you expecting something on some level, no matter how much. Even our kids, if we do something for our kids, we expect obedience. We expect respect. So there's no such thing as unconditional love. It don't exist. Even some people's love for God ain't unconditional because they feel like if they love God, they owe blessings. That's not conditional. That's not unconditional love.
They say.
Yeah, highly favored. There's no such thing as unconditional love. Every love got conditions. You don't care what nobody tell you.
Yep.
And if
So
you think it's not that way, you're gonna set yourself up to fail.
yep. And
The
so
deal,
that's why I wanted people to stop using that unconditional love thing.
the
But go ahead,
thing
Black.
with the thing with the Tia Moore, whatever her name is, the thing with her was, I think a lot of us, and Austin say this a lot of times, thinks that their grass is greener. And when she did her divorce, now she's out here trying to get in this new dating world. Number one, men of today, now modern women, they something different, but we never talk about the modern man.
Right.
Thanks to the Godfather, Kevin Samuels. He woke up a lot of our black men. And I do Kevin Samuels like I do Farrakhan, like I do the Bible. You take out what's common and good, and you apply it.
Right.
In religion, there's a creator. You know, mystery spook, someone that they pray to, and that's from Buddhism to whether it's Yahweh, whatever. There's a common creator there.
Right.
So men have waken up, and a lot of them woke where they felt insecure, where they felt down on themselves. Kevin Samuel showed us that the women that you think are great are not so great. Kevin Samuel showed us that the pretty privileges ain't shit.
Right.
They just like the girl next door. And so men are learning their worth now. Men are able to say that woman that got those 3, 4, 5 kids that's treating them like they ain't nothing when that man making $60, $80, $75,000 a year, and she living on welfare with 3, 4, 5 kids who treating him like he ain't shit. Kevin Samuels made him say, "Hey, I am somebody." And so those men do not see women the way they do, the way they used to.
And see, like the way we looking at, I can't speak for everybody else, but like with Kevin Samuels, he got me in thinking like this. Like women be looking at us. What are his prospects? What are his purpose? What is his ambition? So we looking at women now like what you got going for yourself, where you see yourself, not what I can give you, not me providing for you. What can you do for yourself in 5 years to elevate yourself? That's what we need to be hitching our wagons to. Not somebody with a big booty and big legs. That's all nice, but they don't bring you to the back room. They get you in the door, but they don't get you where the finesse players play. So we starting to look at women now in terms of, okay, what she got going?
Yeah.
What can she talk about? What is her conversation like?
Yeah.
And if you hacking, you're gonna lose.
You know, women are always getting upset when a man asks, "What do you bring to the table?"
Mm-hmm.
And you know, women that start hollering, I bring this body to the table. I do sex. I cook. Da da da. That's not what we care about these days.
No, because we can be in
Yeah, I mean, I like to eat out, so I really don't need you to cook.
Right.
I can hire a maid. She can clean up. So, and hell, you can get sex just about anywhere.
And then I tell people, and then the lady got mad at me. I was like, God bless me with one long enough. I ain't even got to remove no rib. All I got to do is just bend over, and I can please myself. So,
well, that's nasty, but that's a little bit much there. Yeah.
But anyway, let me put it back up. But yeah, I do.
But yeah, so
like Kevin Gates. Go ahead.
But again, yeah, that's just like somebody spitting your mouth. But anyway, hey, but we do have to, if you want a real woman, a virtuous woman,
don't say real.
A real woman, a virtuous woman. I'm gonna say real, and I said what I said.
They hate that.
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care what they hate. I don't care what they hate. I don't care what they like.
Saying a lot of stuff that they hate now. Y'all already said body counts matter. Women
I
hate
really
that.
don't care
They
because
need to bring something to the table other than looks and sex. Y'all done said that, and now you talk about a real woman. So you
and I mean because at the end of the day,
and most women were on your side. You about to lose your women.
no, because
Your fault.
they need to listen and understand what I'm saying,
Right.
and this is to help them out. So if you want a man that is worth something, and this man wants a woman that's worth something, then you have to look at more than just, again, the physical, again, the sex, again, the money, right? Because, and Black and I were talking about this not too long ago, you can make $100,000 a year, but if you spending 101, you in debt.
Yeah, you broke.
So stop looking at how much a dude make and look how much they spend, right?
Look at his character. What is his purpose? What is it? Because I feel like every man got to have a purpose. Until a man finds his purpose, he lost.
Well,
Look at
hell,
his
half of them don't even know what purpose is.
No.
Then they lost. Then they
And
lost because I want the kind of relationship where I'm working on myself and my purpose, and she working on herself and her purpose, but we can meet together in the middle and create something. But you got to have that individual purpose, because in relationships, we lose sense of ourselves, and stuff we used to do, we stop doing because we so worried about a relationship. Now, you over here doing your thing. I'm cheering you on. I'm supporting you. I'm over here with my thing. You got my back, supporting me. Then we can have something in the middle that's real. But until you got that individual, and I'm glad you said about being selfish, it's about having self-interest. You're not gonna have nothing. Some people get in relationships, man, they throw everything away. They up and move across the country. They up and do this and do that all for a relationship, and then they lose sense of themselves, and then wonder why things don't work out.
And that's what happened with the Papoose dude, because he was on he was being interviewed, and he actually said he put everything he was doing on hold to support Remy Ma, and then she ended up, once she got the body she wanted, looking the way she want to look, kicked him to the curb.
Yeah, and then a lot of these, a lot of these women are putting their what they want in a man out there. He got to be 6 feet tall. He got to make six figures. Well, what if he's 6 feet tall and got a 2-inch dick? Then what you gonna do?
No, they're gonna fuck over. Because as much as women say size and sex don't matter, it's the motion in the ocean, whatever the hell they say. But at the end of the day, you got to please that woman in some shape or form. A lot of women, sexually. Sex, like George saying, like we say, it can't be the sole focal point of that relationship. Looks, money, and sex cannot be the focal point. But you have to at least be able to make that woman orgasm, because that's what the complaint is. And that's why so many being promiscuous, let the women tell it. They are they're chasing that orgasm. It's kind of like what they say.
You know what they chasing? I'm gonna tell you what they chasing.
It ain't all about money, because I done seen some beautiful women with some broke dudes.
But here's what I'm saying. A lot of times too, and this goes for us men too, because I don't want nobody to think we women bash. We just having real talk. A lot of women have men issues from past relationships and daddy issues. Trying to use their sex to get that attention and affection and love from a man, thinking that's how you get it, and you don't. So as a result, they incur a high body count. Now, a lot of them, I understand the physical part, yada yada, but you got to look at: are you trying to be out there just because of your physical gratification? But emotionally, what are you looking for? Are you trying to fill some kind of void you have, or address some kind of trauma you hadn't dealt with? And the same goes for us men too.
Yeah, man, I have a daughter now, and my goal before I die is to ensure that she doesn't grow up with any daddy or mama issues. That she's secure in who she is, that she doesn't talk to a dude or get with a dude just because he said, "Oh, girl, you pretty, you cute," and she thinks that a way of getting a dude and keeping a dude is through sex.
and
Oh,
that she
man,
need that she needs that
it's
that she
so
needs
many black
that to feel
women.
emotional, to feel something, to feel anything.
That's their excuse. I ain't saying that it's not true, but a lot of them didn't get the love and attention from the father
or previous relationships.
or previous relationship, and they're chasing that. Or they got it from maybe three relationships they call themselves trying to get in. One of those three showed them how their love was and it didn't work, or showed them how great sex felt. Because that's what a lot of them say. When I was, I did a private panel. On Clubhouse. They invited me to come on Clubhouse, and the women on Clubhouse was saying that they go through multiple partners. Number one, because the guy who they were with previously dogged them out with 3 and 4 different women. So to get back at him, they started messing with a lot of guys.
That's the dumbest thing ever.
That is so stupid.
A lot of our women they believe in revenge.
But see, what does that get you? Because here's my thing about that. Because I've heard women say that too. Well, I mess off with his best friend. Once you do that, dude don't care anyway. He just saying, oh, well, she was just a hoe just like the rest of them. And he's really, you're not going to get that kind of reaction out of him. He might get jealous for a minute, but as time goes on, he just will see you as just another one. So that getting revenge stuff and being petty and that get back sex don't never work out. Ain't nobody, you're not finna have no revenge sex and I'd be like, oh, you know what? I got to have you. You know what? Since you did that, I got to come back or I got to make amends for stuff I did. It's like, no, you can kick rocks.
And you're not doing anything but hurting yourself. You're not really hurting. You're not hurting that dude. Right. I've had that. I've had that situation happen before, and I was like, I don't care. I was like, nigga, you need a condom.
I don't care if you did it.
I'm just saying, because I'm gonna tell you my situation. Situation was, and Black, you probably remember this. Me and this girl, we were kicking it. We weren't in a relationship, but we were kicking it. And then we went ahead and said, okay, we not for each other. So I'm gonna live in this side of the house. You gonna live on this side of the house. Well, it was actually an apartment. We had a 2-bedroom apartment, and we were just gonna be roommates. So my little homeboy was coming over, and then he started being in the room with her, and I was like, dude, I don't care. I don't care. So most women, you don't understand, the dude that you're trying to get back at is already emotionally checked out. He didn't care about you anyway.
That's why he treated you the way he did. That made you feel like you needed to go out there and mess over him. See, what women don't understand, when a man is into a woman, seriously into a woman, he's into her. When he check out is when you start seeing the difference. And if women would say, okay, he's not acting the same, and check herself, they can save it. But if they still, if she don't see the signs, and good men now, and so many women are coming out today preaching, begging the women who got a good man to keep that man.
Keep them. They are.
And that's what happened with that Tia chick. She got out that relationship because it was boring. But what people don't understand, when you're settled, sometimes settled and being happy and content with your mate, with your lover, with your wife, with whatever you got going on, it looks boring. It's not toxic. You're not at the club standing on tables and at the strip club throwing up money. You guys are trying to have something. So of course it's gonna appear to be boring.
Right.
But you was in this relationship, you was going with him so many years, you was married 17, 13, whatever, 12 years. So y'all put 24 years or 22, however many years in this. You 45 years old, trying to get out there and date and hold and turn up like the 25-year-olds. You got a 20-year leap on them. It's not the same.
And see, a woman in her 40s is not going to get the same prospects of men as a woman in her 20s or 30s, because you at a point in life where the men you go encounter are already either established or they so messed up you can't fix them anyway. That's the thing. Your chances of finding a good man almost nil, because, like I said, if he about some, he already landed him some, and he good with where he at. Or if he 45 and 46 and in his 40s and ain't really at that point where he willing to at least be willing to heal himself, you're gonna fight a losing battle anyway.
And that's what she running into. And the deal is, she did not know it was like that. Like you said, she didn't know what she was getting into. And then she didn't damage and down this man so much till she can't go back. She got to stand on what she put out there. And to be honest with you, she is really average at best. When I was even young, watching them on TV, them two goofy looking yellow broads did not pique no kind of interest with me. Nothing, none whatsoever. I never did say, oh man, I wouldn't mind. Like you'll see Lisa Ray and you'll say, oh man, I wouldn't mind. You'll see different ones, even Gabrielle Union, and be like, them little funny looking twins. The only thing she got attracted really is money. She ain't got no body. She's average at best. And like I said on the last podcast, I got women that I've talked to that I know personally that's on my Facebook. If you go through, majority of my friends are females. I got women on there right now that make that twin look like a run over 5-year-old shoe that somebody wore every day for 3 years. She is nothing spectacular about her. So of course she's gonna get out here and you gonna dump a dude. It was no history. We don't know what went on behind closed doors, but it's no history of him beating on her. She never called a complaint to the police. None of that. You got 2 kids. So you a 45-year-old with 2 kids. What you really did was became a statistic. That's what she did. She voluntarily became a statistic. You're a single mother now.
But I think what messed a lot of women up about relationships is I think they're raised to have the Cinderella mindset of, okay, you do this, you do that, you find your Prince Charming, he sweeps you off your feet, you live happily ever after. It's bullshit. It ain't how it works. A relationship is gonna be work. Because you're gonna find it's gonna be changes in communications. People change, but you got to be willing to adapt to them changes and accept your flaws. And it's not easy, but that's what it takes to have a real, loving, real relationships. And people see the first sign of trouble and, oh well, this is too hard. Okay, I can see that to a point, but they don't understand relationships are evolutionary. They constantly change it because we constantly change. The person you dating at 20 ain't the same person you dating at 30. So you had to be prepared for that and be willing to embrace that and be willing to accept your changes as well and see if y'all can find common ground.
And go ahead, Austin.
I would never fault anyone for getting out of a relationship. Never. Whatever their reasons are for getting out of a relationship, then that's their reason. That's their thing they have to stand on. Whether it was the right reason or the wrong reason. And if they're in a relationship and that relationship is not working for them and they feel like they're missing a piece of something, then I'm okay with that. If you've reconciled in your mind that this isn't for you, I'm okay with that. And be okay with whatever the consequences and circumstances that come out of that.
Well, my thing is I was used to running because I have options. And whenever I would get upset, I think about my options. This ain't working. I'm already, well, shoot, I could be with this person. We could do this. We could do that. And we just had a little argument. And I'm already on to my next because that's how I'm conditioned. But like George said, I had to, once that person you dating at 20, that person you dating at 30 is not going to be the same 5 years, 10 years up the road. But I was so stuck in my ways from watching my parents and what I like about their relationship that I want in mine. And so when mine started, like when we first was in the relationship, when we first got together, I guess I I felt like she shouldn't have a voice. I'm this, I'm that, we doing this, we doing that. This is the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
So then when she started voicing her opinion, I started looking at it at first like where this coming from.
Right.
But like George said, the person you meet at 25, the person you meet at 30, not going to be the same at 35, not going to be the same. And then I was growing too. So if I just would have checked out because she voicing her opinion and this is the way I wanted to be and you shouldn't question me because this is how it was when we met, sometimes we have to check ourselves, like George said, because if it's just something minor, because that person's growing and changing, and then I'm stuck in my ways, that was me. And it took me a minute to go ahead and accept that was me. And when I finally accepted it being me, because I just look back one day, I think I took like 2 days and I isolated myself from the world, kind of, so to speak. And I focused on me. What's going on with you? Because I was waking up angry. And when you wake up angry as a man, something wrong. So I say, let me figure out what is it with me? Because your woman not doing nothing, your friends not doing nothing, the kids doing great in school. Why the hell you waking up mad every goddamn day? What's the problem? So when I sat back and ended up, I realized that it was me. I didn't like the people being themselves around me because I was so used to the way I felt things should go. You know, they should wear this to school. They shouldn't do that. You should do this. Her hair should be this way. A woman shouldn't do this. You know, and it was I was stuck in my own little bubble that only supposed to satisfy me. But when you got other people, I had to realize that child is a person. That woman is her own person. So everybody not gonna just let me control them. Right. But I felt like that's what I'm supposed to do. And man, when I found out that people was that the kids and the wife were people, dude, I lost my mind because I just felt like I've been there, done that. I had a next to perfect life. 2 parents in the household. They loved each other. They had good jobs. I grew up Polos, Adidas, top 20, 25, 30 in the class, graduate, scholarship, the college, playing in the orchestra. I mean, I was just like, I know how life should go.
Right.
But when you got other people involved that don't know you, don't know your life, hadn't walked your path, they don't know and really don't give a damn. All they know is where they came from.
Right.
And all your kids know is what they like and what they don't like. And
Right.
so I can try to explain and instill, but at the end of the day, they got to make their choice. And when I learned that, I feel like I became a better person.
Yeah, because you know, about the controlling thing, we're conditioned as men, and we're taught that part of being a man is taking control. And a lot of times we misinterpret that as being draconian or domineering. And we have to learn better ways to exert that leadership with more compassion. Not saying it has to be flimsy, not saying it has to be feminine, because I don't know that feminine masculinity stuff don't jive with me.
Right.
You have to find ways to lead without being injurious to people. And that comes through therapy, because I feel like we all can benefit from it. That comes through introspection. That comes through study. That comes from self-reflection. As men, and we aren't often given that time to do that, especially when we're in a relationship. Because we say, you know what, it's hard, and depending on the woman now, to say, you know what, I just need some time alone to think. They automatically assume that means, oh, it's another woman. Now, sometimes you just need to get in your own headspace and figure your stuff out for yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're really doing it for the sake of your relationship. The thing is, when we do that as men, it ain't easy on them. because we have to process a lot of stuff. So
I
we may get in our
disconnected.
feelings and say things.
I
You know?
disconnected for 2 whole days. I'm talking
Mhm.
about what's wrong. All I was hearing is nothing wrong. You know, oh, so I can't touch on you. I don't want nobody touching on me. You know what I'm saying? That's just what I was going through. I had to get myself together, and I'm trying to figure this thing out. So no, I don't want you sitting on my lap. I could care less if we eat dinner together. I just didn't care. It was like I'm gonna say maybe 3 days. I was just checked out. I didn't care. You know, just let me figure this thing out. No, it's nothing with you. It's me. But see, they'll go through their little 3-4 day, however many their little cycle is. And so, and we supposed to be okay with that, you know, especially if they live in. But then when you go through your, you must be on your, and so you taking all that. Oh, so you having a period that ain't so much as that, and maybe it is. All I know is you need to leave me the hell alone and let me figure out what I got going on. And like you say, it's not easy for them. They think it's something, it's somebody else, it's something they done. But when you get to that point, you trying to make it better for everybody that's in your facility, everybody that's in your perimeter. You trying to make it better for them by checking yourself out and evaluating yourself. Sometimes you have to take that look in the mirror. I wake up sometime 4 o'clock in the morning staring at that ceiling, evaluating my moves, my actions, who I messed over today, who I didn't say this to, you know, who may have felt that way. I evaluate myself all the time. And I think that's why I get the blessings, because I go back and try to right some of my wrongs. So I'm like, okay, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have did this. Oh yeah, man, they could have took that type of way, because I was known for being, and if they know me, oh, he's very arrogant. And I was like, it's not so much as arrogant and it's not cocky. It's more of a convincing, because I've done it over and over. Just like Austin said, he can lose everything and he can go right back and get it. Makes people look at that and say, oh, well, that's cocky. He's cocky. No, we're convinced because we've done it before.
Well, you
We've
know,
let everything go before and bounce back with more.
Right. And speaking of what you just said, you know, if a white guy does it, they call it confidence. But when a black man does it, they call it cocky.
Yeah.
So, but
arrogant.
The thing too, a lot of women have to understand, they think they know how to deal with a man. They don't, because I'm glad a lot of women now starting to get this. They have not dealt with our emotional side, because how can you expect them to understand us emotionally when we just not starting to understand ourselves? Mental health and emotional health is just now come to the forefront with us black men. So it's so much work to be done. But women gonna have to understand, you're gonna have to give us our space. You're gonna have to give us some room to fuck up a little bit on our way to process it, as long as we are working toward a common goal. Now, if you just up there messing up, cause raising hell, and you ain't trying to work on yourself, then that's on you.
And that's why women are pleading and begging other women, if you got a good man, hold on to him. And then we're going to get on the topic for a second, because we've already really been talking about the topic of the night on everybody, on the changes that's going on. But
I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you are a black woman and you know you have a good black man at home, you need to do what it takes to keep that black man. Because let me tell you something, there are not a lot of available good black men out here that are still interested in dating black women. So let me just hit you with some facts. Naturally, there are just more women on this earth than men, okay? We are outnumbering them. So then there's a large percentage of those black men that are incarcerated. There's another percentage of those men that are just into men. It's just the world that we live in. There's another percentage of those men that are already taken and married, and a lot of them are not marrying the black women. So when you do come across a black man that is single and good and actually willing to date a black woman, how do you ensure that he is actually desiring you and wants to commit to you? Okay, here's another fact. The number of black men who are marrying outside of their race has drastically increased, which simply just means they are not picking us. And that is a big concern for me. So you got to ask yourself, what is it about you that makes us less desirable? That is what we have to figure out, because the men do desire to be in a relationship. They're getting married and they're outnumbering us in marriages. They're just not picking us. So it's time to really figure out, how can I be different? What do I need to switch up to really get what I truly desire from this black man?
And saying it brings me something that just popped in mind that I in my experiences is so detrimental to, it's some men got to do, but women really got to do this too. Please, ladies, deal with whatever trauma you got, whether it be. I ain't gonna get into it because they all know what I'm talking about, but whatever trauma you got from past relationships or something like that, even if it's the one you currently in, deal with it, because it's hard on us as men to endeavor into a new relationship, and it's so much baggage that you bring in that you're not dealing with. Me personally, I don't mind the baggage somebody has, but if they ain't dealing with it, or they afraid to engage because of their trauma that they not dealing with, it's a done deal. It's a done deal. Because I'm like, you ain't even dealt with your past 5 relationships. What the hell that makes you think I want to get into there with you?
Once we realize that we're coming into, when you're in a real relationship, you're bringing 2 imperfect people into an unbalanced situation.
Mhm.
So the thing is, you're not going to be perfect in your relationship. So you have to be okay with your person's imperfections.
Right.
But what you
Right.
can do is bring balance to your relationship, whatever
Right.
balance looks like to you.
Right.
So when you come to that realization and you deal with, hey, I have to be okay if this woman, half of her face gets burned off.
Right.
I have to be okay if this man has to start taking blood pressure medicine and his stuff don't work anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be, when you really and truly are committed to a relationship, you have to be okay with the what ifs.
Right. And that's always been my point, because I always think about the what if. What if? Because there's, life is uncertain. And like we were talking about losing people earlier, that happens. Accidents happen, illnesses happen, circumstances occur. And if you're not willing to still stick by that person, even to the most extreme, circumstances, then, you ain't got nothing real. Because that love, and I know we just said love, no such thing as unconditional love. That love is really conditional. When I can tell you, what if your wife got paralyzed? I don't know, keep using that analogy, to get paralyzed from the neck down and can't do nothing, you got to take care of her. Are you still going to stay? Are you going to still be faithful? If the answer is anything other than yes, then you might need to reassess some things, and you might really need to look at it. But we have such this, and part of it's because of social media, we have this such this set of entitlement, and we feel so emboldened that we don't think about things like that. We don't think about when we're vulnerable, what does our partner bring to us? Because now we're starting to meet our vulnerability. So, you really have to look at, who's going to understand your pain and try to help you through it. Because we all got trauma. We all got stuff going on. We, like you said, we imperfect. I'm sorry. But the thing is, are you endeavoring to improve upon that? True. And if you're not, then you stagnant. Then no relationship is going to work. But as long as you're working and striving to improve yourself and improve your station, then there's a potential and to have something real.
Now, women and some men. Now, if he's beating on you or she's beating on you, or if they are a habitual cheater, cheating without a conscience, over and over and over, then, and they talking about they working on themselves, I don't know how that's gonna work out for you.
Them the two things I say cut bait and run. If they beating on you or if they habitually cheating on you, then you ain't got a shot. To me, those two things, that's a wrap. I don't care how much you love them, I don't care how good the sex is, because you never gonna get what you want out of them. You never gonna have a full commitment. And women need to understand that too. And we men need to understand that.
Yep. People always say, well, they can make a mistake and cheat. No, you have to make a conscious effort to cheat. You have to make a conscious effort to cheat.
Right.
So
now, if you cheat once, you'll cheat again. Sorry, ladies, that's the truth. If he cheat on you once, he gonna do it again. Because, like you said, he made a conscious effort. He developed that relationship with the other person. He made time and opportunity to do so. That takes real effort and real forethought and real deception to do that. So that's telling you right then, he ain't feeling you like that.
Yep. Now, one thing that I have to have to dispel is once a cheater, always a cheater. Because when that person finds his person, or the person, or she finds her person, then that thing that they were looking for while cheating, it's already fulfilled
I
in that
kind of I
person.
kind of agree with him on that. I agree with you on that
Yeah.
because
Yeah, me too.
yeah, when you find that person that's really your person, that you feel is your person, you know how to treat that person. So
Right.
yeah, I agree with that. Once a cheater is not always a cheater.
Yeah, and that's definitely true. But once that happens in your relationship, you
Once it
know,
happens in
then
your
your
relationship, that's a
relationship,
wrap.
you through. That's a wrap. That's a
Because the
wrap.
more either side, whether it's male or female, each time you accept that person back, the less respect they have for you, and they're gonna do
Right.
it again because they feel like that you'll take them back.
Yeah, and then
And
they're still gonna show.
and me, I'm visual. So if I know you've been out there cheating, I'm not going to want to. I'm not going to desire you the same way
Mm-mm.
because
I wouldn't even
every
get up
every
for
time
them. I can't even get up
every
for
time I look at your face, I'm gonna be like, "Ooh, is that the same face that you was making with him?"
I can't even be around you at that point.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
like,
I'm
no,
good.
stay the hell away from me, because you know, I can't mess with you. I guess I'm funny. I got this thing, you know. Once you like with somebody else, and we supposed to be having whatever we got, you can
Yeah,
keep that moving.
I'm
It's because
good.
you say when that blow up in your face, don't call me back.
Yep, I'm good.
Because you think
Thank
that
you for your
grass green,
time.
that grass just as dead as can be.
Yeah. No, I mean, the grass can be greener, but sometimes it's turf. It's just fake.
Okay, yeah. Because I just found that usually when I've seen that situation occur, it's always regret. It's always, or either they end up setting for listening what they had because they listen to their friends, they
Yeah.
listen to all this old crazy music, the WAP and all that mess, and think that's what it's about. No, it ain't about that. Throw your
Yeah.
stuff out there, it's gonna get thrown back to you.
If you're not toxic in today in a lot of their relationships, if it's not not drama going on, if you ain't got a woman, a baby mama, ex stirring up the pot when you go to the store, where they can talk to their friends about the ex, it's not exciting. It's boring.
Yeah. And I'm telling you something. I don't know if I'm like most men on this. I'll tell you women something. When we meet you, we really ain't interested in hearing about your relationship with your exes and everything that went wrong. We really not. We're not trying to be we trying to develop what we got going with you. We don't really care about your exes. Now, whatever trauma you incurred on that, you need to deal with that. But when you meet a new guy and you like him and stuff, don't sit up there and tell us for 4 hours about how your ex cheated you and
Right.
dog you out. We don't
Now,
want to hear that. That's
we'll
eternal.
probably listen to it the first maybe 30 minutes to an hour total, just to kind of fill out what you like, what you've been through, blah blah. Especially if you got with her while they were breaking up. So I'll be like, but after that initial 2-day, 3-day meeting, I don't care to hear.
I'm telling you something. A real man, I want to use the N word so bad. A real N, when you talking, he peeping game on you, listening to how did you react to dude when dude did this?
I was just about to say that.
What was your we reading you.
I was just about to say that.
Don't think men don't think like that.
That's what I do. I let them run their mouth because the old man told me you let a person talk long enough, they're gonna tell it on themselves. So I sit back and I'm gonna listen. Then after I hear that point where I was talking to somebody at work. Okay.
We know you'll do that again.
Yeah.
We know what kind of guy you fall for. So we know what you think about yourself. We know how you handle situations. We can tell if you're gonna bust it wide open on the regular to anybody. We can tell all it because we listen. They think men, we don't listen for discernment, but we really do. We really do, because a lot of us are seeking wives. We dating with purpose. They think we just out here just, dipping our spoon in everybody pudding. But like for me personally, I'm looking for a partner at this point in my life. I got things going on, things I'm trying to cultivate. I'm looking for a wife. I ain't looking for somebody to just do all that stuff. I'm looking for a situation how we gonna excel as individuals, how we gonna help each other cultivate the best of ourselves, and what can we build together. You know what I'm saying? So I'm listening to you. I'm listening to what you talk about your trauma, about your family life and everything, because it says a lot about you. So be careful doing that, because we don't want to be your emotional tampon for your previous incidents and previous relationships, because we end up being defined by that. And that's not what we want.
Yep, that's true. But and again, I intentionally listen for how you handle a situation. Intentionally listen, because I need to identify what type of person I am dealing with. Who am I really dealing with?
And how to deal with them.
And how to deal with them.
And
Now,
if you want to deal with them.
one other thing, baby mamas and baby daddies.
Right.
Look, y'all cannot sit up here and try to dictate who your ex has around their children.
Right.
Because what you need to do is actually try to co-parent.
Right.
And then you should have enough trust in the person that you laid down and made a baby with to identify the good and the bad, to bring who not to bring around your child.
And like I said, that's a totally different all together topic.
Yeah, because you remember what I suggested you to those two topics? The co-parenting and the stepfathering. I can't wait to get there.
And we're gonna do that. That's gonna be the last Wednesday. So in 2 more weeks, we're gonna do that. Okay. And that, like I said, that's a whole different deep altogether. But we got a lot of different mixed views on this topic, on what made the traditional values of yesterday so untraditional in today's society.
Well, first thing we got to look at, what does traditional mean? What does that look like? Does it look like the Norman Rockwell, Americana thing that's been thrust upon us and forced it upon us, where we have a mama, daddy, 2.5 kids, minivan, and a dog? That's never been true. That's always been a fallacy. That's never really existed. And then you can go back to slavery. They took us from our motherland, brought us over here. The first thing they did was break the family up. All the men with military training were separated. So that started our racial trauma in terms of not having a defined family structure. And then you go into the 60s and 70s when a lot of social programs were enacted. The caveat to that was men couldn't be in the home. And now you have this toxic femininity to where I don't need a man. I'm not saying you need a man, but this man hating that's going on, that's just further corrupted. So we really don't have a structure. Most of our structure is Big Mama and everybody else. And that's cool if that's what you got. But even looking in that, you got to understand there's a lot of effed up stuff that happened in that, because Big Mama might have been a matriarch of the family, might have been a stone of the family, but she didn't know what she was doing either. She just did what she knew. And we seeing now is manifesting itself in us, in our generation, and our kids. It wasn't the right way.
And sometimes she did what she had to do.
She did what she had to do. She did what she had to do. But here's the thing, still doesn't minimize the damage. So while we have responsibility to go back and look at that analytically and try to fix it. So we have to define what family structure is, and I don't think, or traditional family, and I don't think that fits one mold anymore. You have a lot of the two parents. I mean, I was married, I did the two, but it didn't last. So now I have a different family structure. Now it's just me. So that's a different family structure. I have my 2 sons. So it's going to be something that forever evolves and changes. But to go back to your question about what's changing it, just what I said. It was never really as ingrained in our society. It was ingrained in our society, but it was more image. And then you had slavery, which preceded that. Then you have the social programs. And now you have this culture to where you have so many different diasporas of people. You have the LGBTQ community. You have people that are single mothers. You have single fathers. I'm a single father. So family is what you got. There's no traditional. The only thing that's traditional about family is love and loyalty. Everything else is up. So we got to accept it and learn to work with what we got in a way that's going to benefit us and our loved ones. Because if you're constantly striving for that, for some idea and some notion, and it ain't really meant for you, it's just going to be destructive.
And if you have, and traditional to what group of people? Because
Right.
every group of people had a different type of tradition, a relationship tradition. Now, if you go back to the biblical days, and if you want to say the tradition is a man and a woman in a relationship or a marriage, then okay, so we can look at that. We can talk about that. But now we have so many different variations of things, and
Yeah.
people have come up with what's traditional to their
To
particular
them.
group,
Right.
to their group, and what fits with them. And like I've always said, that's what the reason that there are so many religions out there is because people find what is comfortable and what they like
And
and what they want to
and,
ingrain themselves into.
and that's what I was going to say about the new normal, about what they're doing today.
Right.
It went from man, woman, marriage, children, to they're rewriting, what they want. Okay, well, I like men, so now it's gonna be men, and we go and adopt the child, or woman, and we go and adopt the child. But you still, even in that aspect, it still came from man, woman, child.
Right. And I'm
You
cool
know.
with that. I'm cool. If two men want to adopt a kid, as long as they love it and stuff, I ain't got no problem with it. The thing that we should be looking at in terms of tradition and family is the concepts and the tenets of family, which should be love, loyalty, support, brotherhood, all those things. Let's look at the factors that play into what a family is instead of what aesthetically it looks like, because that's going to be different from everybody.
I mean, it's gonna be different from everybody, but and a lot of us want to run from society. We hate society when it don't. We hate society when it don't favor us. A lot of us,
right?
Society, like you want a wife, but that's still part of being traditional. Why not go get you a man? And then y'all,
they just ain't what I don't do that. So I mean, ain't
why you don't do that? But we in a society where you do,
But here's the thing. Leading back to my other point. If it's two men, that has no effect on me. As long as they create a family that's loving, that's appropriate, that's supportive. That's what's important to me. That's what family is. It ain't even genetic material.
I cannot hate on anyone for doing what they want to behind their closed doors, behind doors.
Right.
If you're a man and you love a man, I don't have to deal with that.
Right.
If you're a woman, you love a woman, I don't have to deal with that. It does not affect my household. So unless they're trying to pipe it in through the TVs or putting it in the schools and trying to make that,
like I say,
and not allowing my child to make up their own mind about who they are and what they are.
That's the only problem that I had with it. They're pushing it on.
Well, yeah,
Disney pushing it now.
Here's the thing. Speaking of our education system, the problem with our education system in this country is because it's more about indoctrination than education. They teach you how to be good slaves, be good employees. That's just about it. And they trying to get you to be so accepting of everybody's norms. It don't have to me, I don't care nobody say about what I'm finna say. You can send me whatever you want. Prayer ain't got no place in school. I know this controversy, and here's why I'm finna say this. Everybody ain't Christian. You're gonna be creating more problems. Prayer needs to be at home. And I'm glad we're talking about family. Those foundations need to be built at home. School needs to be strictly for ABCs and 1, 2, 3.
I had a good day today.
But as far as all this other indoctrination, you got to accept this.
We have 50
no, that's negating our teachers.
No, because you got to get out and learn.
Hey, Black, you're not on mute. Okay. Yeah. And I can definitely agree with what you're saying. I'm not here to argue if prayer should be in school or not be in school, and or like when at the games when you saying pledge allegiance to the flag, or you star spangled banner or whatever, you however you deal with that, you deal with it, because those things are wherever they are, right?
Right.
So and also with that teaches you, you stand up for what you stand up for, and you fall for whatever you're gonna fall for. So
Mhm.
if my child chooses not to pray in school, then they're standing up for their beliefs, and they're
Right.
not being swayed by any social whatever, right? So
Right.
so I'm okay with that. But um society doesn't even know. We used to have these societal rules, right? So but those have gone out of the window now. No
Yeah.
one actually knows what society rules are anymore.
Yeah. And you know
Every,
why?
why is that?
They do it in the name of personal liberty. That's always their excuse. Well, I'm expressing myself. You can express yourself. If you want to go out, go out. If you want to go out the house with their butt cheeks hanging half out, fine. But don't get mad when you get judged. If I
Right.
go out, if I go out dressed in a police uniform, I can't get mad when somebody come ask me for help. That's the image I put out there. So, live your life. Do what you want to do. I'm for everybody living their life. It's not infringed upon me. I don't care what gay shows they put on TV. I ain't got to watch them. But
Right.
understand what you put out there to express yourself. Freedom of speech does not mean freedom from response or repercussions. And
Right.
people think that. They think I'm free to express myself, free to speak without having to hear somebody's mouth. Yeah, you might have to, but that's the price you pay for expressing yourself.
Yeah. That that's absolutely correct. And
You know?
one thing I've always said, that hey, you can do what you want to do, but
Consequences.
don't get mad when you have to deal with the circumstances and consequences that come behind it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But as
Yeah.
far as the traditional sense, I'm gonna say, I'm not even gonna say this traditional, but the self-respect that the women don't have for themselves anymore. You
Mm-hmm.
know, some of us grew up with parents who, like I say, mine wouldn't go to the door if dad wasn't at home. You know,
Right.
if one of dad's friends bringing something over, he had to leave it outside by the door or put it in the barbecue pit. And when they leave, she'll send one of us out there to go get it. If we not there, she go out there and get it. Women these days let a whole nother man in their home, in that man that he paying mortgage, rent, whatever, into the house, and that man ain't at home. He gone to the grocery store getting food for the house, and a whole nother man sitting in his house waiting on him to pull up.
Right. That's not.
The values are gone, and it's supposed to be okay because that's just Junebug, that's just Joe. But you can't even trust your damn brother these days.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
So it's stuff like that I see, because like, yo, you can come in when I go with different people. Where is he? He's not here, but you can come in. I'm like, no, I'll
No.
come back.
No.
Have him to call me. Well, he'll be right back. Okay, well, I'll either sit in the car and wait on him, and I don't know why he's sitting outside, because I respect this man's home. Now you got brothers out there now that don't respect what you got. They gonna go on up in there, and then when they get with their partners, man, if that wasn't my boy, I'd do this. I done been around all that.
Right.
Shoot, 8 Ball and MJG had a song like that. I can't remember what it was now. When he
Which
was saying,
one?
I can't remember it now. When he was
I
saying he
know.
went to visit his homeboy, and his wife was there, and she started coming on to him, and
Yeah, man.
I can't remember the name of it,
I
but
feel what you're saying, but yeah, that's just crazy, and it is what it is. And then you get women who not used to that. Don't nobody even think like that, and they thinking you just crazy. But man, things happen.
Yeah. Things happen.
you
Things
know,
happen.
I
And
would I would be crazy to sit up and think that I'm the only man that's attracted to my wife,
right. Right.
and she would have to be crazy to think that I'm the only man that's attracted to her.
Right.
Or is she the only woman who attracted to you?
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, either way. So, you know, I don't live in a world of ignorance, bliss, and naiveness. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna put myself in a situation where I have to defend my marriage, right? I'm not
Right.
going the virtue of my marriage. I'm not going to
Right.
put myself in a situation where I'm going to have to decide if I'm going to sleep with this woman or not because of something that I've been placing on her or putting on, that we've been flirting. I just
Right.
say it like that. We've been flirting. I'm not going to do that. I'm not
Right.
going to play with fire. I'm not going to do that. And a lot of people put themselves in situations where they sit around and holler about, oh, that ain't gonna happen. Ain't nothing gonna happen. I can have my homeboys and we can go out and we can drink and we can kick it at happy hour. Ain't nothing gonna happen. But you don't put
And
yourself in a situation like
if
that.
you a man and you let another man in your house and your woman sleep with him, she ain't no damn good. She
And
ain't
he
no
ain't
damn good.
But
'Cause
a lot of them say if he don't allow her to hang with these guys and be with these guys, that he's insecure.
yeah. Hell, I don't have no problem saying I got my insecurities, but I got my common sense too. I got my common sense. And if I was in a position where I had a homeboy, whoever come to my house or whatever, and my woman was with him, no, no, because that's gonna say more about her than it will about him. That's gonna let you know that woman can never be loyal to any man. If you gonna lay up in a man, if you laying up in a man's house, that your husband, your boyfriend, you sharing the same roof, and whatever circumstances bring another man around, and you sleep with him, especially in the same house where you and your husband lay, you're not a woman that's meant for nobody. Because to me, that shows something. This shows something. So and the same for a man too. If you're gonna lay with another woman in a house you share with your woman, some flawed there. Because there should be a boundary thing that should stop you. If you're gonna do it, at least don't do it in the man's house.
So
But
I
you
was
hear
gonna
a
say,
lot
so
about
if you're gonna cheat, find a neutral spot.
trying a neutral spot, but in the house, really?
You
I
know,
mean, how it's just. Man,
but
folks nowadays just got, and I don't want to just blame social media. I want to blame people and their lack of accountability. But the thing is, with relationships, I see them going so far left now. I see what a lot of men doing. It seems like men trying to get their stuff together. It seems like we trying to address our issues of mental health and talk about them. But some of these women, these 304s out here, they killing. They. My son told me something the other day. He volunteered at an event and he was holding doors open for women, and he told me chivalry is dead and women killed it, because he was telling me, he said, it's not like you. He said, Dad, you always taught me to hold doors open for women and do this, and he's like, these women had an attitude with me when I did it. And he's 13. See, that's what my son's having to deal with some of these women, and I ain't gonna say all, but that's the culture now. It's not about respect, it's not about chivalry, it's not about courting. And that's the problem we have, and that's why we ended up with these constant broken homes, these unfulfilled economic promises that we have, because we're wasting time on relationships with the wrong people. And sometimes you don't need no relationship at all. It ain't meant for everybody to be married. It ain't meant for everybody to have somebody. Sorry. I know we've been told that all our lives. That ain't true. It's just not.
yeah. And then going back to that cheating thing, you know, cheating is such a waste of energy.
Right.
Why would you want to? And and I admit I've cheated before, and it was just such a burden. All of the lying, all of the trying to cover up, all of the sneaking around,
The
all
guilt.
that stuff,
The
all of
guilt.
it.
Yeah.
Well, in the beginning, I have to say I did not have guilt because I did not have love for the people that I was with. I didn't love them the way that I should have to have guilt. And so that's what I'm saying. When you get with someone that is your person, that you actually truly feel love for, that you're not going to cheat, because if you even think about cheating, it hurts you to think about how they would feel if you did it.
Right. Like my last relationship I was in, never cheated. Never even thought about it. Not because, you know, I didn't cheat because, for one, I wanted that person. I didn't want nobody else. Couldn't nobody else thread me like that. You know what I'm saying? So I've never cheated in my past relationship. No. So that's what you got to look at. And the thing is, when you cheat, you cheating because it's new, it's exciting, it's something different. And then what usually happens 2-3 months, that person gone.
Yep.
Now you left with a damaged relationship, a damaged marriage over a flame for somebody you thought you gave a shit about, but you really don't. You were just seeking something at that time. You were seeking some gratification.
They were fulfilling something. Yeah, they were fulfilling something that was unfulfilled in your current relationship. So what you need to do, rather than cheat, is identify what's missing in your relationship or what's missing in you, and try to identify if someone can fill that void or if you have to fill that void. Because if well, it's really on you and how you figure out how you're going to fill the void that's there in you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because no one can really fill a void for you.
No.
So you have to try to figure out how to deal with the void that's in you.
Right.
And going around, you know, sleeping with other people or doing this or other harmful things, drugs, drinking, you know, whatever it is, abusing drugs and abusing drinking, I should say. Those things are only masking the void.
And see, the thing is, I'm glad you brought that up, because one thing people, and I learned this through experience. Everything I speak of, I learned through experience and through my work as an advocate and my professional work as a CEO of a nonprofit. People think that somebody else can make them happy. No, they can't. That's not anybody else's responsibility. Your happiness, it's on you. You make yourself happy, then maybe you can meld with someone and y'all build something unique. But I can't. Well, you don't make me happy. That's not my job to make you happy. That's you. You looking for somebody to feel something in you that you need to be feeling in yourself.
Right.
And I hear that from a lot of women. Well, he didn't make me happy. It's not his job to make you happy.
Yeah, I preach that all the time.
Yep. Yep.
You know, even I had to learn that. I was looking for other people to make me happy. Now that I realize I got to make myself happy, things are better. But I had to learn that lesson. But I really hope women really listen to us, and I hope they're not getting defensive thinking we woman dashing, and we not. We just talking about things that I hope will help people improve their relationships on an individual level. Yep. But don't, you know, if you look for somebody to make you happy, you're gonna always fail.
Yep. And you know, I am an advocate for women because
right, me too.
You know, I've done my things in the past, right? I have, and I admit that. But I can share my experiences with someone, men and women, for them to learn from. So, and like I tell my sons and eventually my daughter, that I've made enough mistakes where I can show you what you're gonna run into.
Mm-hmm.
And I can let you know how to avoid those things, but it's up to you, you know, to take that in.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
you can feed them, but you can't make them eat. I got you.
Yeah. So, but women, you know, I've never been a woman basher, never will be. I want women and men to be healthy with themselves, and if they choose to get in a relationship, to be healthy in a relationship. I'm all about and all for love, whatever it looks like. Whatever your love is, whatever your relationship looks like, I'm all for it as long as it's healthy and you're thriving in that relationship. And if you have kids or offspring from that relationship, then you're helping to build them up into good character people.
Mm-hmm.
And see, that's what's missing. That and why a lot of the children are like they are. See, the men on this panel, we believe in talking to our children. We understand that the child didn't ask to be here. we understand that it's our responsibility to educate them. It's our responsibility to guide them. We understand that. But that's a difference and disconnect that's going on with the generations, with the new normals. And like Elton posted, he said the parents are being friends with their children and don't know how to separate friendship from parentship. And I see that all the time. I joke with Pops, but I have the respect to know when to cut that joking off. He still told me what to do. He still stood firm. And that's how I am. We have fun. My kids love me to death. Just like when I walked out the room and you heard the guy tell me, son tell me he had a good day and all that stuff. We do that. We have fun, but on the same note, when I say time to go to bed, he going to bed. It ain't no back talk. When I say it's time to clean your room, he's cleaning his room. He understand I love you to death. We're going to play. We're going to have fun. We're going to laugh. We're going to dance. We're going to TikTok. I'm going to sing with him. And we do all that. But he also respect when I say, all right, playtime over. Mm-hmm. He shuts it down. Right. And that's where and they say it's our generation. It's the 40 plus who are failing. That's what Kenny Gaines was saying. And I thought he was going to join us tonight because he brought the topic up. But it's the what is it? Are we the X generation? It's our generation. And see, each generation got softer and softer and more lenient when it came to the kids. That's why now when we see the 16-year-olds and we see the 12-year-olds acting out, that's the generation behind us. Right. So when the discipline, they still allow whipping, they still allow certain states allow corporal punishment, with the board. But to be honest, when we had that board, when the board was in place, where when you act up, you go to the office, you get that paddling. When that was in place, students weren't trying to jump on teachers. Not many of them.
And you know what that boils down to? To being consequence minded. These kids don't have a sense of consequences. I was managing a video game store way back in my early 20s. Caught a boy shoplifting, called his mama. She came up there. She didn't whoop him, but she fussed at him. 2 days later, she was in the store buying him something. And I'm thinking, you just taught your kid that you don't, as an authority figure, you hold no weight. Because we caught him shoplifting. And 2 days later, you end up buying him something? Yeah. And another reason, too, why we have this current phenomenon of kids like they are is because us Gen Xers, I think we were conscious of what our parents did that maybe messed us up.
And so we didn't want to do to our children what they did to us.
Right. So we go too far in the other direction. We're too lenient. We don't set those boundaries. Because when you here's the thing about when you set a boundary with anybody in your life. You can set a boundary with your kid, your dog, your cat, your neighbor, whatever. But for that boundary to really be to hold and be something good, it's going to get flexed. It's going to get tested. It might get torn down. But if you hold steadfast to that boundary, eventually it'll get solidified. And people don't have boundaries with their kids.
And that's the thing, is having a balance. You don't have to be a friend, and you definitely don't have to be a tyrant. Mm-hmm. I have a relationship with my kids, and it's not being a friend, but being someone that they know that they can come to and talk to and tell anything to, mm-hmm. and that I'm going to be in their corner no matter what. Right? So they know that I love them as their parent. So when you have that, and that's what people fail to realize, being a parent is not being a friend, not just being a disciplinarian, but being all of those things in one. Right. And if you go too far to either side, then you can cause some type of damage in that relationship with your child. So it's all about a balance and how you delicately control that balance.
Right.
And you
'Cause
have to
we-
know, you have to know when to go more to the left or more to the right.
And that's
But-
hard because I've done it. I got 2 kids, my own 3 step kids. I got 5 kids. I've made those mistakes. The thing is, we have to be conscious of the fact that when we do go too far to leniency, what we do is we end up enabling our kids, and we end up making them susceptible to the flaws of undue influence because we aren't providing a strong structure for them or an example for them. So we really had to be careful. But I think if we and here's the thing, all this stuff is generational. My work, my advocacy work, it will not be seen in my lifetime, but I got to get the ball rolling. So I'm hoping that when my 5 have their own, then they can take what they learned from me, even my mistakes, and be better parents. But we got to be conscious of that and start instilling that in them. But
and that's the issue.
Right.
See, when we start having ours, we were in the what I want to say, the beginning of social media, computers, social media. And so when we had our children, by the time they were 10 years old, they had laptops.
Yeah,
social media was just beginning to be a big thing. And so the one-on-one time that maybe one of our parents or our uncles and aunts and big mama, whoever, the one-on-one time we got, the computer started getting the one-on-one time with a lot of hours.
Yeah.
And that the less time that when I say ours, I'm saying the generation, not us, because we understood one-on-one, we're in that role. We stepped up to become men. The children are here. They didn't ask to be here. It's our job to protect, serve, and provide. But a lot of, like he said, the broken homes, we left them women. We got them pregnant. We didn't marry them. But my brother, that's 15, 20 years older than me, when he got his pregnant, guess what? He had to marry her because the society looked at him and, oh man, you messed that girl life up. They both was in college. She get pregnant. Ooh, you messed her life up. So the right thing to do was to jump up and marry her, to be viewed better in society, whether you love this woman or not. Right. You got her pregnant, which they say messed her life up. He married her. We seen that and was like, I ain't marrying her just because she got a baby. We messed up. I ain't finna. I'm still going to school, still going to the military. I'm still finna get my job. I'm still finna buy my car that I'm looking at. We didn't let that stop us. So we created a lot of, and on the statistics, it shows that the single parents start coming in the 90s. It was more single parents dropping out there in the 90s than what it was in the 60s and 70s. So when we jumped out there, and it's less attention as the generations go down, it's less hands-on, one-on-one that parent is doing with that child. That's why it's just like he said, she came up there, fussed at the child, but was right back in the store. And that was 20 years ago, he said, when he was in his 20s. So it's 4 times worse now because the mama ain't at home. Mama not at home at all. Our parents worked, but on the same note, they still had that one-on-one. We get in, we had to do homework. If our grades failed, the teacher was calling, they was getting on our ass. These days, that mama working and she too tired to even deal with you. A lot of times they don't even ask, do you have homework? Did you have homework? All she knows is she came home and you was living.
Right.
She bring food home.
I think the term single parent, especially single mother, is applied way too much. You unmarried. You're not single. Because
that dad somewhere in their life
not with you. Yeah, they just not in a relationship with you. But the father's still around. So you're not a single parent. You ain't doing this by yourself. And I think so many women convince themselves because they're not with the child's father that they somehow rocking it all by himself when the father is there You're an unmarried parent, not a single parent.
But guess
Now,
what?
if your
They
child is
take
dead,
that though and turn it around because the man's not living with them, because the man's not in a relationship with them, and they paint him out to be a deadbeat.
Right.
They paint him out to be this monster, this lowlife. But when she needs something, really needs something. See, a lot of the fathers, because of the women's attitude and how they treat them, they only there when they need them.
to be, yeah,
When they need them. Do he need these eyeglasses? Do he need to go to this doctor and welfare that you're on? Don't cover it. But then they'll say, oh, well, he don't do this, he don't do that. But
or
you
they
get
when
child
he not doing
support.
what they want him to do.
Well,
When he
I
don't do
mean,
what you want him to do, then they say that.
I mean, let's be honest. We have some dudes out there that don't do.
Right.
They may give money, but it takes more than money.
True.
You have to spend time with you have to spend time with your child. You have to pour into your child. Then you have some people out there that don't do anything. And you have
Right.
some single men and women that are raising their children, their child or children, or unmarried, whichever one you prefer, but and they're not doing their part.
Right.
So and that goes back to what I was saying before, co-parenting.
Exactly.
We
Yeah.
have to co-parent because
And also,
it's still going to take both it's going to take that entire village to
Okay.
raise that child to completion.
right.
And when y'all say, when they going in with the new rules and everybody want to say, oh, they was doing that back then. Well, back then, everybody preached about they had a village. We ain't got
Right.
the village now. So that's different. The village is not there.
And another thing too, and this happens with men and women. You have a kid with somebody, it don't work out between y'all for whatever reason. You want to vilify the person you had the kid with, but here's the thing: you knew that about them when you laid down with them. Don't tell me you didn't know. You just chose to ignore them red flags. Now you got what you get. Don't get mad about it. You knew dude already had 5 kids and 16 baby mamas, and he wasn't doing right. You think he gonna do right by you? You think your stuff special?
They
That's
do.
what that's what they do.
That's
They
what
think.
they think. They think they stuff special. It ain't.
They think they
It's
can
not.
change. They think they can change them.
You
And
cannot change a man. Oh, I need to tell women that you
and you,
cannot change us.
and you can't change a woman either.
Can't
They
change a
have to
woman. You
want
can't
to
change
change
nobody.
themselves.
They have to
You
want to
can't
change.
change.
themselves.
Either you're gonna have to accept them exactly for what they are and who they present themselves as, or they're going to have to change some of the negative things about themselves that you all are not seeing eye to eye on. That's going to be something that they want to do.
Right. And I have to, I want to take this opportunity to tie everything we're saying into back to what my purpose in life is, which is mental health advocacy and emotional health advocacy. We're starting to see how all this ties together to us not dealing with our mental health. And not just our mental health, but our emotional health. So many of our problems in our community can be traced back to that, damn near all of them. But we got to start having these discussions. We got to start in the circumstances where it's appropriate, being open to therapy, being open to counseling, being open to medication if you need it, being open to taking accountability. Because right now I've been going through some things where I've been processing. And it's been hard on people in my life because me processing ain't easy. And other people processing hadn't been easy. You got to deal with all that to get to a point where you got some peace. But I'm so grateful that now we finally starting as people starting to talk about mental health. I'm not hearing so much when I do my advocacy work, all this white folk stuff. No, that lets me know we got hope. And we need to imbue that upon our kids as well and continue to embrace that so we can start to get our station up in life as a diaspora.
Yep.
Statistics have showed that more people are reaching out to therapy. The millennials are definitely more into it. And now more Generation X has starting to look into therapy because we're realizing with everything that we're taking on. See, one thing I do agree with George with the big mama and them thing Big Mama and Big Daddy didn't have the problems of the world economically, systematically, nothing. They didn't have what we have.
Right.
So
and they
the
also didn't have
pressure
access to
is
resources. It's
deeper
elevated.
on us than what they had.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The jobs, once he at the mill,
Right, 30 years.
Like you say, it's thousands of people trying to get that one position now. You make one wrong step, you out the door. Back then, they wasn't firing them like that either.
Right.
You know, you have to actually earn that position. Right now, if you run in a company, I hit up one of y'all, hey man, my cousin gonna be down there, George. I need you to hook him up. You got a stack of resumes. This time, all of them way more qualified than my cousin. But the fact I asked you, yeah, just tell him to come holler at me, and I'm gonna send him over there to Jack, and then Jack gonna send him to John, and then Michael will hire him.
This world is cutthroat, it's competitive. But see, here's the thing too about our children. Well, let me harken back to Big Mama them. They also didn't have the resources that we have now. So not only were they dealing with their own limitations and their own culture at the time, they didn't have the resources. Now that we have them, we need to use them. But the thing is, the world is so competitive now. If we don't get our kids mentally and emotionally straight, they ain't got a chance.
Especially emotional, because
they're emotional.
The children we had a few so-called bullies, and we had one or two heartless, but now 80% of the kids don't give a damn.
Right.
You know, they don't care if your child got a hole in his pants. They finna take a picture and put it on social media, video, and make a big laugh and stop. And about 2-3 years ago, right, before the pandemic, it was a lot of preschools, and I think it went up to the 3rd grade. Those children were killing themselves because of how the kids were treating them at school. That's where that cyber bullying thing started. And they just heartless now. It's just, and it's getting worse.
Yeah, because I teach kids, one of my jobs, I teach kids kindergarten through 6th grade. And I have such an acuity for watching out for them and seeing how they move and seeing stuff and trying to be aware of it. You know, so we all need to do that. So I see the little bullying. I see how they react to stuff ways we would have never reacted to it. We might would have sucked it up. You know,
sucked it up, or we used to fight after school. Soon as the bell ring, we'd get our little squabble on, break it up, and we done. You know.
So that's what I was about to say. Or I forgot what term you used earlier, but the kids are less resilient now. I don't know if they've gotten weaker. They can't handle that because all we sat around and talked about each other, played the dozens, if you whatever. You know what I'm saying? And it was a game to us.
Right.
But now you have kids that want to kill themselves because somebody talked about them or somebody outed them on social media or whatever.
And we used to say, hell, our mama would curse us out so goddamn bad till when somebody say something at school, it didn't bother us. Your mama called you everything under the damn sun. You black, something. We sitting there like, okay, and you have to soak that up. So when you go out there and somebody say something about you, like, hey, my mama called me worse than that.
And you know, I think I went too far with that with my youngest son, because he don't care about nothing now. He walk around with his hair all over his head, and I be like, son, what is going on? Nothing. I'm just chilling.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm in a way, I'm glad that he again doesn't let people pressure him into doing certain things or being outside of who he is. He remains who he is on a constant. Um, and I like that about him. But of course, you know, there are some things that we want as a parent for our child.
Right. Like with mine, when we go into the gym, I want his haircut. I want his hair comb. He ain't even just come out there. I'm like, hey, did you comb your hair today? You know, while he getting in the car. Oh, and he'll run back in the house, get his comb and that little sponge thing. But I'm like, nah, you ain't finna go with me looking any kind of way. Now I'm gonna still carry that. And or if he trying to go out in some clothes that don't look worth it, some damn around the house jeans and shirt. No, nigga, you finna be with me. I don't care if we are going to Walmart. Put on something decent. We leave in the house. You know, so some of that stuff I still carry on with me. Now, when you get on your own and you grown and you want to walk around with nappy hair, dollar store clothes on with holes in them that you didn't have for 8 years, do that. But when we going somewhere, you're going to put on something decent because at the end of the day, you represent me.
Yeah, and you know, and that's the thing when he has his own job and doing his own thing. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I can only guide. My job is to guide you now. I've raised you. Now all I can do is guide you. I'm
Right.
not gonna try to control your life. I'm gonna let you make your own decisions, make your own mistakes.
Yeah, especially when they grown and they not under your roof.
Right.
Right.
So
And the thing is, we got to bear in mind, you have to have a license to drive, own a gun, fish. What else you got to have a license for? Do just about anything worth doing, but you don't have to have one to procreate. Anybody can have a baby. Having a baby ain't nothing special. I hear people say, I got 5 kids. So what? That just means you was able to be mounted a lot. But how you raising them?
right. And one thing people get this misconception about is just because I gave birth to you or because I've fathered you, then you deserve respect just because of your mom or your daddy.
No, you don't.
You don't.
You don't.
That your job when you had this child or when you made this child was to ensure that they were raised properly and kept safe. That's what you were supposed to do. That child does not owe you anything.
No.
Anything whatsoever outside of that.
But
And
I know several.
if you fail to do that in their childhood, then don't expect them to be
Dude,
this respectful
I
child to you
know,
as an
and you
adult.
know them too. But I know mothers right now who feel like their kid, their child, owe them something
No.
because they birthed them. They anytime that child gets some money, anytime that child do anything, they want something. You're not gonna get me a house. You're not gonna that child that they get a good job. The mama want 20% of the check every time they get paid.
You ain't
For what?
owed it.
No.
For what? Because you
The
did what you were
birth of them.
supposed to do?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's just like, if I'm a husband and I go out and buy flowers, or I go out and do this and bring it home, and then do I deserve extra credit for that? No, that's just me being a husband. Me doing what I want to do as a husband.
The biggest thing that used to irk me and is women who say the fact that they are being faithful and loyal, you should be happy because they not out
Yeah.
there messing around. No, that's what you're supposed to do if we
Supposed to
gonna
do,
be
yeah.
in this type of relationship that you want to be in. Because the men decides the relationship. So if I accept you to be in this relationship, and then the woman come and say, and I heard like 2 or 3 women I know that told their guys, well, the fact that I ain't messing around, he ought to be glad, that I ain't talking to this person, that person. That's what you're supposed to do in a relationship. Just like the
Yeah, you
guy
got
who
some
takes
real
his
standards.
kid to go shopping for school clothes, get him something for his birthday, and he posts on Facebook, "Oh, I'm chilling with the son," like, and want 50 million clicks and likes. No, you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But they don't
Yeah.
see it like that. Just like the little 25-year-old, 24, 25, take a picture of her keys to her apartment, and she got a car, and she'll lay her little scrubs on the bed and take a picture of everything, and she on top of the world. Welcome to society. Welcome to
Welcome to
being
being
a
an
Adult.
adult.
Welcome.
Welcome to
adult.
being an adult. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That's people, you do not get extra credit for doing what you're supposed
what
to
you
do.
supposed to do. You're supposed to get a job. You're supposed to get your own place, get out from under your mama, living off a friend or somebody. You're supposed to do that. You're supposed to have a job.
Right.
So I don't get it. I don't
We've
get
set
it.
our standards low. That's what it is. We've set our standards so low in this society. And like you alluded to earlier, in an attempt to be an egalitarian, which means to accept everybody, we've cut our standards so low, and now we're surprised at what we're getting. we don't celebrate high value people. What I mean by high value people is that people, even if they don't have a lot of money, got a purpose, got something behind them they pursuing. It ain't about how much money you got.
It ain't money.
It ain't about,
value. That's what I was trying to explain. It's not okay. Kevin Samuels make people think when they say high value that you gotta have over $100,000. This and that. It's how you carry yourself. The person. The values you have instilled in you. That's what high value. If you don't want that woman walking around looking like the red, sexy red, whatever her name is, you rather have a woman that's cover herself up, dressed neat and look professional.
You rather have Michelle
the values that you have, your values.
Right.
You're not gonna take her. She's not gonna look good meeting your boss. Meeting your supervisor at work. She got orange and on this side, blue on that side, titties all out, and a booty cheek showing like Ice Spice. You would take that around your boss or your supervisor up to your workplace.
Some people do. I've seen it. Some
people do.
They do it. I'm saying, but a man of high value wouldn't do that.
Well, so I had a point, I forgot it. So go ahead.
but no, we were just saying that high value doesn't mean 100,000. I guess a man of high value, and then not to what Kevin Samuels was saying. He's saying a high value man, meaning a man that's established, has money, don't need a woman for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Can pick whatever woman he wants. A man of high value is one who carry himself a certain way.
Right.
Not settling for anything. Pride on being in his purpose.
Right.
You know, not just out here being what they call the the guys that's the Main and Junebug. What they call them? The Pookies and Chads.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's what so many women end up with. That's what so many women end up with. And then a lot of times these high value men, they not interested in black women at that point because they get jaded. And it's not fair to black women, but you know, a lot of them paint with a broad brush. They had 2-3 bad experiences with black women. I'm through with black women. There's a whole group that does it.
Hey, I know somebody personally who said because of his experience, he said the next woman he get gonna be Asian. The next one he's settling down is gonna be Asian or Indian, something like that. He was like he fed up with black women and he don't want no white woman. You know, because those other women are raised up and taught how to be wives. Our women were taught you got to use what you got to get what you want. Got to have a job to be with me. Ain't nothing going on but the rent.
Have you heard some of these songs that come on the radio that women are listening to?
Now, yeah.
This is some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. I'm like, no wonder y'all miserable. Y'all made this miss y'all's anthems.
And you know it's like, so I think that the industry putting it out there to keep dividing the black families, to keep us divided, because the things that they saying, and then a lot of them, like the Cardi B's and all them, Megan, they in relationships, but they telling, and Sierra, they telling, go be independent, you don't need no man, get your own. They preaching all that, but they with somebody. Right. And so they poisoning the weak minds, which is the 25-year-olds, the
no, it ain't just 25 now. I know some 40-year-olds. I know some 40-years on it. So let's keep it real.
You know some who?
I know some 40-year-olds on that.
Oh no. Listen to that. It's one thing to listen to the music because you like the beat and the rhythm, because I'm a producer, I DJ, so I understand that. But to be walking around actually thinking this, there are 40-year-olds that you know personally that actually think like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've run into some. And
You
it's
got
just
something
like
out there?
that's just what's out
Dating,
there.
dude, jumping out there in that dating pool now, bro. I don't
You gonna
see
get
how
hit.
anybody can do it.
And on
I
on
would
the
not advise
real,
a woman to do it. Not nowadays. I'd be like, just be by yourself.
on
Because
the
you ain't gonna make
real,
it.
on the real, you have to identify. First of all, you have to identify who you are. Then you have to identify what you want. Then you have to identify what you will and won't stand for. And then you have to put yourself in an environment where what you're looking for is around. You have to be in an environment where what you're looking for. You
But
can't
see,
just
some
be
women
on
don't
all
know how
these.
to do it.
Yeah, I
They
mean, you
don't.
just can't be all in the club and all on these different sites and accepting all these
I'm
different
pretty
men and
sure.
invitations.
I'm pretty sure that the women who George talking about, they not in the club because George don't look like he club.
Mhm.
No, I'm
So
just all I'm
They,
he's
they,
saying
they,
saying
is,
they
it's actually
I don't want to. They in the workforce. They in the boardrooms. They running corporations. They running business. And so
I,
many women blame their misery. I'm so tired
I
of
ain't
women
seen
blaming their
that.
misery on men.
mm,
I'm so tired of it. Stop blaming your misery off of on the relationship you was in, baby. That's you.
yep, check yourself.
Now I'm not
Yeah,
saying
I
we.
ain't
I'm
seen
not saying that men don't sometimes put. Because see, women don't understand. They put us through the same stuff we put them through. It ain't no different. But I hear so many women. They if you ask them, if you find that they're unhappy, I swear, first 2 or 3 things is a relationship or a man. Now you doing it wrong, boo boo. That's why your stuff ain't work out.
that. And so
Yep.
now you got to play therapist to a broken woman who bringing her broken bricks, trying to build y'all foundation.
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna give you an example. If you're in a relationship and you say you're unhappy and you think it's a relationship, if you're a woman and you break up with that person, you in a relationship, you been on your own, and you still got the same problems,
Is you
it's you. It's
you the
you.
common
If you
denominator?
still ain't got no money, if you still frustrated, if you still stressed out, if you still got stuff going on, if you still got any issues, it's you.
And that's what I had to figure out. And a lot of my stuff, it was me.
Right. It was me. I had to
And
figure that
how
out.
did
I
you
feel
feel when you
feel.
figured out it was you?
Huh?
How did you
Uh,
feel? Because
I
I felt good when I started taking accountability. To be honest with you, it was the best feeling ever. And if women, more women and men, but more women, just start taking accountability. Yeah, I messed up, and I confess so much on here because when I finally the light bulb finally clicked, and I was like, you know what, it is me. And listen to Chanel, we took it all the way back to what was incomplete in the childhood, what I saw growing up, what I did, and I took all of that with me, all that, everything that I seen, because I did talk about it. I held it in and I reacted on everybody I met. And the guy who used to co-host on here, he he would tell people we used to have to take 2, 3, 4, sometimes years off because my attitude was so messed up. I was an asshole on steroids. And
Right.
until I started seeing my faults, what I'm doing wrong. Everybody didn't grow up like me. Everybody don't have the visions I have. Everybody can't say fuck it and move on from different situations like I did. And when he started breaking that down, and I just started seeing, and then being held accountable was the greatest thing. So when I hear Austin and even you say that you have to find where you're wrong, because I thought I could do no wrong, and I
Mhm.
wanted to be, and I felt like I was perfect. So when I started looking at how people mess over me and just say my bad, and now my feelings hurt because I'm going out my way to be perfect. Oh, I'm sorry, man, my bad. And I'm like, well, sorry, didn't do it. You shouldn't have did it in the first place, blah, 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 blah. But then when I started messing up and saying, hey, my bad, I'm sorry. And yeah, that was my fault. I felt good. And I was like, I'll never want to be perfect again. Not in that aspect.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had to accept for a long time. I would shit. I was not relationship material. And for the women that I was in a relationship with or situationship with, my bad for messing y'all up.
Because I
You
be
know what I
thinking
had to
about that.
realize? I had to realize I am relationship material. I'm definitely husband material. I'm gonna go out and say that. But see, my problem was I wasn't George material. I wasn't right. See, that was my thing. It wasn't the fact of what I wanted. It wasn't my interactions. It's the fact that I had things I had to heal in me to be like I am now. So I've always wanted to settle. That's just weird. Most guys usually go out there and date a lot. And I never did that. I never did that. That's just my makeup. But see, I realize now at this point in my life, because I am healing, now I feel like I'm ready for that. And a lot of times the people you want relationships with aren't ready for it at that point in time.
You have to be.
You have to address how you deal with it. Are you willing to invest in them and help them help cultivate them and support them in their healing to a point where maybe you can have that, or you're just not interested? See, we have choices in that too.
You know, I've always said that it has to be like gears on a grind, where they have to meet at the right time to keep it turning and moving and growing, or whatever whatever that grind is doing. So, and it's hard sometimes to match up with those people. It's all about timing. It's all
Right.
about timing. And when the creator gets ready to put you in that time, hopefully you don't miss it. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
going back, I know that I wasn't marriage material back then
Mhm.
because I wasn't whole enough
Right. Right.
to understand how to be what it took to be a husband. I didn't have resilience. I didn't have a conscience. I didn't have caring. I didn't have love. I didn't have empathy or sympathy. I didn't have those things. But now I feel that I am whole.
Right.
I'm at a point where I've gone through the process of identifying those things that did not have me in a solid place.
Right.
So now that
And
I've when it patched those things up, that's why I can be the husband and father that I am today.
right. And a lot of people, and piggybacking on what you just said, a lot of people get into relationships before they're ready. You know, they get married too young. If you get married before you're 25, you really don't know yourself. And maybe you need to wait a little bit before you get married, or even into a serious relationship where there's cohabitation involved. I would definitely advise people to wait a little bit before they had kids, because I can remember back when I turned 30, they turned the corner for me. I'm like, ain't no way. Like my second son was born when I was 32. I thought I couldn't handle this 7 years ago. I was a different person. Even in what I've been through this year, I'm not the same person I was 6 months ago. So you have to understand we are constantly growing. People think, man, you hit a certain age, you're supposed to have it figured out. You're supposed to have your bag together. You're supposed to have this, you're supposed to have your career. No, everybody different. Everybody matures at a different rate. You know, and we need to keep that in mind too. So, you know, when I see people wondering why it's not working, it's probably because you're not ready. You're not ready. And we aren't born with this innate aptitude in order to procreate and grow families and things that we have to learn. Some of it is instinctual, but we got to learn it. And we have to learn with our partners for them to give us room to learn and grow as well. But you got to be accountable first, like we've been saying. Once you're accountable, you can lay all your shit out on the table and deal with it. But until you admit it, until you're accountable, you just burying stuff in the closet. And all it's going to do is just keep making a mess.
And George, I think with that,
Yeah.
I think you said it all.
He summed it up.
You took up all our closing statements. You
I'm
good on
sorry.
there. No,
Yeah,
you
I mean,
good.
everything. Hey, on the cool, I was sitting back and he just slowly picked everything. And I was like, hey, I'm gonna say be held accountable. He hit the accountable at the end. So I'm like, okay. So yeah. But yeah, with that concludes another episode of the Speak On It podcast season 2. Shout out to George. Tell them where they can find you at, George.
Man, they can find me on Facebook under George P. Brooks. My nonprofit is called Metta, METTA Association. We, of course, right now we got big things planned for next year, coming up with a men's course I'm currently working on right now. Let me see. Doing public speaking next year. I'll be on the Women of Purpose tour held by Sabrina Ford next year. Just a lot of stuff going on, doing a lot of media. Us being a nonprofit, y'all can donate at $ Meta Association on Cash App because those funds do help us fund our programs and initiatives. So I just want to thank y'all again for having me on. It's always a blast, and I cannot wait to do it again.
Okay, well, I know for sure, not next Wednesday, but the last Wednesday is when we're gonna do the topic that you was talking about.
Right.
And the Austin. Tell them where they can find you at, home.
You can't find me. You can't find me. Yeah, you can't find me nowhere. So don't even look for me.
but yeah, that concludes it, man. Same time next week. We have another interesting topic next week. Shout out to Chanel. She was able to make it and make it tonight. And shout out to everybody who watched this, man. But like I say, same time next week, we back in this thing. And with that being said, we finna dock this ship and we out. Peace. Women do what you allow them to do, and vice versa with the women. A man gonna do what you allow him to do, and if you don't know your worth, you'll put up with that bullshit. But when you know your worth and you know you don't have to put up with it, you ain't gonna put up with it.
The girl was like, well, if I decide I want to wear a string bikini, to the beach and all that, I don't deserve to be harassed. And if you got a problem with that as my man, that's a problem. He was like, look, I'm not, like, you shouldn't be harassed. You're right. You shouldn't be harassed. However, they got creeps out there. Period. There are creeps out there. And so you have to be mindful. He's like, I'm not worried about my woman per se. She fine and she put it out. Okay, cool. However, they gonna have somebody that's gonna disrespect that boundary. They gonna have somebody that's gonna do something to handle because they don't have the respect.
Right.
That's who I'm looking out for. That's who I'm afraid of you attracting, right? And stuff. And so that's real talk. Like, you're going to attract the creeps with that. A woman is tight because she's nervous. It's a muscle. So if I'm nervous and I'm not comfortable, then it's gonna be tight. That don't mean necessarily that it's just
preach my thunder, because when you're loose and like that, you want to know what we doing? We getting ready to orgasm. It's called bottoming out. We're letting that bottom drop so you can hit what we need you to hit, so we can get what we want. If you notice, every time before the orgasm, it goes loose. Pay attention. Before her orgasm, not your orgasm is tight because she's working for you. Her orgasm is loose every time. She don't squeeze during the orgasm. She squeezes after the orgasm because she's trying to stop. It's a reflex after. And I'm sorry, y'all not moving, shaking. I got my phone in my hand. But that's how I teach my classes. That's how it works.
There are some decent women out there that may have kids that are able to hold it down for themselves and still be able to accept a man into their lives in a man role. So
see, the thing is, when you just say you need a woman that's holding it down by herself, this is the problem right here. In today, in the 21st century, a lot of women, they don't want to have no damn discipline. They don't want no man to come in and tell them what to do. They don't want to follow no rules. They want to sit there and say they want a strong man. As soon as that man show up and start trying to lay down structure and foundation, they flee. Oh, you trying to boss me around. You trying to tell me what to do. All this nonsense. You want me to be submissive. I ain't no slave.
No, Rick,
all this goofy shit.
You narcissistic. That's the new word.
Yeah, that or toxic masculinity. All these other shaming tactics they got trying to do to hate.